Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-Optional Podcast on the 20th of October 2015.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody. We were making poop jokes a second ago.
We were having poopy jokes.
Cheers.
Why is anybody surprised? No? Nobody's surprised? Just checking.
We're adults.
Yes.
Your Starbucks cup looks so much cooler than mine.
I got it at the grocery store.
Wait,
My-
what?
Why does the grocery store have cooler Starbucks cups than a
My
Starbucks?
Starbucks is in a grocery store, and it was wonderful. They know me there. That's
Ooh.
you know you have a problem when they're like, "What's up, Jesse?" I'm like, "Hi."
The
girl
guilt.
at the counter-
Usual,
The
Jesse.
sheer guilt.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Girl at the counter watches this show. She's probably watching right now
Aw.
every day, and she asked me
Hi,
questions
counter girl.
about. She asked me questions about what it's like to podcast, and I'm like, "Do you have conversations with your friend? Put a camera on it. There, you're done."
Pretty much. With some semblance of pretending to have a format. It's
I was
usually the way
gonna
to go.
say, but TV without you, there wouldn't be. There wouldn't be a format.
I have been made abundantly clear on that point since every time I let you lot run free with it, it just goes to hell.
It gets it goes super wrong, super duper wrong.
Just awful. Absolutely awful. You'll ruin the legacy of this show if you keep doing that. Can't allow it.
The legacy.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Legacy.
The legend.
In in years to come, Stone Tablets will read about this show.
The
Be
saga.
like a couple of assholes and a guest.
And the poop jokes that were made.
Yes.
Mhm.
So good, always.
I'm hoping for tapestries at some point.
You've come to see the tapestries?
Oh my gosh,
Oh
there are
my
gonna be
God.
monks in the future who just like spend years of their lives weaving blankets of our
yes.
faces.
They'll work on a loom. A loom!
A loom!
This is post-apocalyptic, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, tapestries
So they-
have returned, and they're
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic.
I mean,
monks.
to be honest, I was
So-
considering replacing Octopimp's camera with tapestries because it would be higher frame rate than it
That's
currently is
true.
right now.
Aw.
We've been trying to deal with this before the show started, trying to figure out exactly what the hell's wrong with this camera, and we just can't do it. It
I
keeps
know,
freezing all the
It
time.
looked fine a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and then it just
literally looked
broke
fine
again.
2 seconds ago.
It's
Here's the thing,
pooping
though.
again.
It gives us a good glimpse of your Snidely Whiplash-like character today.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's so, I love the mustache. I just
we
want
can maybe
you to
see
keep it
Muttley in the
forever.
background, like
Yeah.
running around in the back. Yeah, somewhere.
Did you know they redid Wacky Races in like 2006?
I was about to say, have you won your wacky
That
races?
doesn't sound good at all. Did they ruin it?
No, it was awesome.
Really?
It was like it was one pilot. There was like one pilot episode, and it was super good. And it had like a bunch of really good voice acting in it, and like Jeff Bennett was in it, and like Jim Cummings was in it. Like a bunch of really good voice actors were in it, and it was hysterical. And then like nothing ever happened with it.
No!
Yeah,
so
I
it's
know.
literally just a pilot episode.
It's like 6.
Was
it's
it
on
called-
YouTube.
Yeah, I'm noticing it. It was called Wacky Races Forever. Apparently,
That's
it was
it.
never aired.
Yeah, it went up. You can watch it on YouTube. It's like 6 minutes long, and it's super funny. And like the animation isn't great because it's a pilot, but it's really well written, and like the acting's good, and like there's a lot of gags that play really well. And they focus kind of on like the visual comedy a lot because that's kind of what Wacky Races was. So yeah, it's good. Check it out.
It's just slapstick goofs.
I don't know if I'm okay with this Dick Dastardly right here.
Oh yeah.
I'm not 100% convinced. He seems overdressed for the occasion, really.
I kind of like his jacket with the D buckles on it. I think that's cool.
He's got popped collar though.
Yeah,
The
but that
frat
makes him
boy
extra
Dastardly.
evil.
I
I'm-
feel so bad for this little monkey.
Oh dear.
All right, can we all take a moment to
He just
appreciate
oh
that-
my god, he has a giant cheese button.
Can we all take the moment to appreciate that his voice is the exact same voice as Pete from Goofy? Just,
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
That guy does the voice of like a million
every villain.
things.
All
Every
villains.
damn villain. All
Mhm.
villains all day. That is his. He is in more.
Shit,
Like-
man.
Oh yeah, I can't even. You should just play Kingdom Hearts. Play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and he does like 90% of the voices.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like, all right, whatever.
I mean, you go back and you watch like Rescue Rangers, and he's Monterey Jack, and it's the same voice. He's just not evil.
Yeah.
You know, I never realized
Oh
until
my
I came to the
gosh.
States that Monterey Jack was a cheese. That's
Yeah?
just not a thing that's
I
sold in
love
England.
Monterey Jack cheese.
Probably is now, but
Jalapeno
back then, no.
Jack.
Oh, that's a really good too.
God, oh my god. The best part is to the rest of the world, we are like the white trash of cheese connoisseurs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Monterey Jack with jalapenos
man.
in it. That's so good.
I mean, I like some bologna, but put some olives in that bologna, and you got better
Yes.
bologna. Am I
Then
right?
throw some jalapeno Jack on that. Oh my god.
This, good sirs, is the finest vintage of Kraft cheese slices, and only to be served to those with the appropriate palate, you see.
Yep.
We went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and a friend of mine wanted to get potato wedges, and she was like, oh yeah, they were like, what kind of cheese do you want in there? And she's like, oh, I'll take Swiss cheese. And they brought over, she's like, oh, I thought Swiss was the yellow one. And we were like,
Lol.
oh no.
What?
What?
No, that's
She
not
did
the
not
one you
watch
want.
nearly enough cartoons. Swiss
Yeah.
cheese is always
Always
white.
white.
cheese.
It's got holes in
Always
it.
white with holes.
Everybody
White
knows
with
that.
holes.
Oh
Yep.
dear.
That's true.
Just disgusting, really,
Mm.
that they don't know anywhere near enough about the cheese.
Their
Oh, you
cheese
gotta
knowledge
do
is
that.
severely lacking.
That shredded cheddar, and put it on top of there. Throw some jalapenos on there.
Melt that
Oh my
Jesus,
God,
say
when-
what? It's so
When
good.
Tillamook did the like aged white extra super duper sharp cheddar,
Yes.
I was like, "Bleh." I would buy it and just like shave a little bit off and eat it and be like, all right, I'm good. Shave a little bit more off and all right, I'm good.
The problem with
That's
cheese like that is there'll be one day where I'm like, I want some fucking cheese, and then I'll put it away in the fridge, and then I'll forget that I have cheese, and then I'll open it back up, and like half of it is a solid block. And
Block.
It's like, well, I gotta get rid of that part.
Yep.
You're just wasting cheese every time you
Well,
try
I
to
mean,
go-
you can melt it. You know, you could do a grilled
Sure.
cheese with that, and it's probably just fine. I know
I
it
guess,
hasn't gone
yes.
off or anything. It's just hardened because of exposure to the air. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
There's
You can
definitely a
salvage that.
chef out there who's like, you're doing it wrong. You could use that 50 million ways.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot recently after the acquisition of our toaster oven and experimenting with all manner of different things.
You are so in love with the
Oh, it's
toaster.
fucking
like every
great.
couple of
Kidding me?
days,
Is
TV
this
in our
like-
in our Skype chat is like, guys, I made a quesadilla and it was amazing. We're all just like, okay.
It was great. Are you kidding me?
I don't.
Just like, what can I put in the quesadilla? You know, it's a case of experimenting
Anything.
with it. Anything, literally anything. It's
quesadillas
great.
Are the utilitarian sandwich south of the board? It's so good. You can throw anything
South
in there.
of,
Throw
south
anything.
of the Bort.
My son is
South
also
of the
named Bort.
Sport.
We're all out of board license plates.
Go along, Bort.
My friend works at Target, and his name's Brett, and he got them to make his name tag say Bort. He's like, everybody just called me Bort because he would joke that his name is Bort, and he's like, no, it's actually Brett. But his manager made him a Bort light name tag, and he's just like, we just call you that anyway. May as well have the name tag too.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Hey man, I broke out my rotisserie over the last few days as well. I've been going all out on the cooking. It's like, hey, I've got a big slab of meat here. Let's put it in the rotisserie. There's something amusingly medieval about it. You know, you get to spear it, stick it on a spit, and then rather than having, you know, a couple of serfs turn it for you over an open fire, you have a machine that does that for you. It's wonderful.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
And I've discovered it's also very hard to fuck up. It's like, stick it in the rotisserie, press go, meat
You
happens.
have a Ron Popeil rotisserie, set it and forget it?
I pretty much just meat
I remember
occurs. It's
That
wonderful.
was college. 4 a.m. watching Ron Popeil sell rotisserie chicken machines. He's like, just set
It's
it
so good.
and forget it.
Get it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's so.
It's
It's wonderful about that and crock pots. They're both the
Yeah.
same shit.
Oh, crockpots are great.
Stick it in
Crock
there.
pots are awesome.
Food that is edible and probably pretty good in large amounts will come out later, and you don't have to do anything about it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Load up
all of
5 pounds
Everybody
of
that I
stew.
know who has sent me messages being like, "Hey, I'm about to go to college. What sort of recommendations do you have?" I'm like, get involved in shit really early and buy yourself a tiny crock pot. That's
Yeah.
all you need.
Mhm.
Like,
You know,
dude.
I survived for years through university on a George Foreman lean mean grilling machine.
Those were the shit.
I know a lot of people who did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a case of you can throw pretty much anything in it and it'll probably come out edible
It-
with
yeah,
minimal
it-
effort.
It dries out a lot of meat, but
It does.
It'll be edible. You will.
Yeah.
You will.
That's why you just add ketchup
literally-
at the top of it. Problem solved.
Yeah,
stick it in
you
stick it in 2
cannot
slices of bread,
screw
eat it.
up. You can't screw that up. You throw meat on there, it comes out hot and edible. The
Yes.
perfect college. Like that's all you need.
Absolutely.
Hot and edible.
Guys, I have to send back my dehydrator. I'm really sad.
Why?
Why is
Every
that?
time I use it, it makes my house smell like something's burning, and I was like, this can't be right, because I thought
That's
maybe
not good.
eventually like that smell would cure out, right? Like sometimes
Sure.
things have like a weird smell the first couple of times you use them, but like it just never went away. So I contacted them and they were like, it means you're not using all of the trays. And I was like, I'm using all of the trays. And they said, oh, then that's not normal at all. You should send that back.
Send that back before it sets your house on fire. Yeah, that sounds like a good
exactly.
idea.
They're like, you're probably going to burn something. So
Yeah.
very sad.
I bought a really nice rice cooker off Amazon because I was like,
Of course you did, you fucking weeb.
Yeah, it's true.
Yay!
And then I bought just a big old bag of sushi rice, and I was like, eat it up.
I can kind of understand it.
Onigiri.
You know, if you've got a busy household in Japan, for instance, I can understand owning one of those. But making rice is not difficult unless you're trying to make really good rice to make sushi with or something like that.
Listen. The label on the box said it cooks rice perfectly, and I have nothing to compare it to, so I'm going to assume that it cooks rice perfectly.
You know, you can get a thing of rice that just goes in the microwave, 1 minute done, right?
Oh, but those aren't good. But TB, those don't taste
most
good.
rice is just not good though. It's kind of the same.
Well,
Maybe you just don't like rice.
that's basmati rice.
I mean, I'm not the world's biggest
Not
fan of
into
it.
rice.
Jesse knows what's up.
Yeah,
Basmati
basmati
rice.
rice,
Put it
sure,
in your
but that's with a
mouth.
curry. You know, you don't have basmati
Oh.
rice with Japanese food.
Well, I basically just put the rice in there, and then I add, instead of using water, I use chicken broth, and then I use chili
Chicken
oil.
broth?
Yeah, I use chili oil. I take a scoop of chili oil and put it in there, and then some curry powder. And then you just, if you want, you can throw frozen veggies in there too, because they steam when the rice steams, and then you get like a nice little rice dish in the end. It's good stuff.
Just a nice little rice dish. Just a
Mm,
sweet little rice
yeah.
dish.
Welcome to Cooking with Co-optional.
Pretty much.
Yes. That was
We-
the worst name.
We
Sorry.
occasionally talk about rotisserie ovens and video games.
Mhm.
Oh man, rotisserie chicken though.
Yeah, I did one of those a couple of days ago.
God.
Yeah,
Oh god.
and then I pulled the rest of the chicken and put it in quesadillas in my toaster oven. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Don't eat that.
Coming up in the show, we'll be
I bought
talking.
an ice cream maker.
Boo!
Dodger's like, you know, last week's like, I'm on a diet. I'm eating better. And there's like, I bought an ice
eating
cream
better.
maker.
Yeah, so that I can make ice cream out of not dairy so that I don't fart and kill everyone in my life. Anyway, welcome to the Co-optional Podcast. What are we going to
Video
talk about today,
games.
TotalBiscuit?
Video games. Yeah, let's talk about the games that we've been playing this week. Why don't we start with you, Jesse? What's been up? What's been going on?
I ain't played shit. I was out of town, so
Now
I was-
discussing shit. Okay.
yeah, I haven't played nothing.
All right,
So-
you're useless. Let's move on to somebody
Yeah.
else. Dodger, what have you been playing this week? What's going on?
Okay, so let's see. I played Downwell.
That frustrating piece of crap. Yes.
Yeah, that piece of shit. No, it's fun. It's very everybody pitched it as an endless runner, which it's not. I think everybody should know that straight up. It's not an endless runner game. It's a game that has stages, and the longer that you live, like the more stages you live through, the more power-ups you get. So it's basically like the idea of the game is that you're this little dude and you're falling down a well and you're trying to get as deep into the well as you can.
Mhm.
I did not get very far. I played it for like 2 hours and I did not get very far at all.
Oh
but
yeah,
I'm
I watched. It was
starting to
great.
understand it
I
more.
enjoyed every last minute of the misery.
They give you different, because originally the game is in a black and white palette. So the longer you play, you get different palettes and you can change things up that way. But yeah, it's fun, like getting the power-ups and stuff, but at least for as long as I played it so far, it's pretty repetitive. Because again, you're just falling down a well, killing monsters and gaining gems and buying things if you find a shop. And yeah, it's
Who sets up a shop in a well? How lucrative of a shop is that?
I don't know, Jesse.
I'm
Why
watching
are
the
there
video.
why are there shops? Why are there shops in the dungeons in Binding of Isaac? I don't know.
Because that's all in his head, and it's not real.
Maybe this isn't real.
Have you ever thought about that? You ever considered that?
Maybe
No,
this
this is
isn't
clear.
real.
This is clearly real. This is the plot of The Ring.
I didn't
Fuck
know
that
that it
movie.
was. It's also a game you can get on your phone. I didn't realize.
I would not want to play this on a phone. I'm looking at it.
wouldn't
I'm like,
either.
the amount of precision required. I think Slowbeef was talking about it. It's like, yeah, Downwell's great. Don't buy it on the phone because
Yeah.
you will just
Yeah.
be miserable.
a friend of mine was trying to play it on the phone and kept being like, "Oh, oops, oh, fuck, oh,
Yeah,
shit." To be
fuck
fair,
that.
that's what I was doing too with the controller. But I think the one frustrating thing about the way that it works on the controller is that the button to jump is the same button to shoot. So you're always shooting down because again, you're trying to get further and further down into the well. So sometimes I'd be like, I'm trying to jump, but then I'd just shoot instead. And I was like, no, I wanted to jump though, right? And I guess if you play with the keyboard, they're different buttons. It's not the same button for both moves. So I'm like, I don't know why they didn't just do that with the controller, and there's no way to remap it. But I don't know. It's fun. It's pretty mindless. It's a mindless good time if you want the sort of game where you're just like, oh, I got a little bit farther that time. Better start over again because I died. Yeah.
Downwell, the name of that. Oddly enough, we'll be talking a little bit about some mobile stuff in the news section. And get into a little bit of discussion, but we won't do that quite yet.
Ooh.
Got some ideas to talk about, but not quite.
Oh, I
yet.
played Pokemon Shuffle. Fuck that game. All right, continue.
Okay.
Wait, but you've been playing
here we go.
Pokemon Shuffle for weeks now. This is the first time that you've said fuck that game instead of that game's great and I love it. So what happened, Jesse?
Nothing. You get to a certain point. I think I got to either like level 87 or level 90 something, whatever. It doesn't matter. And it becomes to the point where if you want to do well, you have to spend the in-game currency. Like it just either that or because you can only play 5 times a day or 5 times each. One turn takes 30 minutes to recharge. So you can play more than that. But usually I play like once in the morning. I play 5 in the morning and then 5 at night before I go to bed. Right. And so that's like 10 tries a day, which is fine for a normal human being. But the damn fucking game, like, there's one level where it's like, all right, in order to get S rank, in order to beat it, you have 5 turns. In order to get S rank, you have to do it in 4 turns. And the fucking thing, like, at the start, it blocks off several things that makes matches impossible. So you're just like, what do I do? What? And because it's randomized, you just get fucked. So it's like, all right, I'll do it again. And then you get fucked. All right, I'll do it again. And then you get fucked. It's like, all right, I'll do it again. And eventually I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, take 1,000 coins, and then all of a sudden it's like, the Pokemon's like, I can't do that ability anymore. And then you're like, oh, all right, instantly win. It's like, this is bullshit. You're bullshit, game. And I've had it. So that's what I did this past week, was play that game way too much. I'm like, I have too many damn Pokemon. I don't even give a shit about Pokemon, and I have too many damn Pokemon. I can't handle it. Fucking Maui or whatever his name is. He has a mouth on his back. You're stupid. You're stupid. I was on you for like a week and a half, and I hate you. Whatever his name is, Mogwai. Get out of here, Mogwai. Get out of here, Mogwai.
Nobody feed him after midnight.
So yeah, we can move on. I don't want to give that game hype because that game butts. Game's stupid butts.
It's really fun until you hit level 90, apparently, and then it turns into
before
bullshit.
Then it's great because you get all little cute. It's all the little cute Pokemon that are like the little like whatever they're called, the like baby ones, not level 1 or 2, but like the baby ones, and they're all cute. And you're like, wow, this is great. It's fun getting cute Pokemon, and then you get to the asshole ones that are like, I have a mouth on my back. Fuck you, backmouth. Stupid Pokemon.
Backmouth. My favorite.
Fuck
Pokemon.
you, backmouth. Worst Pokemon, backmouth.
So that was frustrating. I hated it.
Another game that I played is called Paint It Back, and it's a Sudoku game basically, or like a Sudoku type game. I'm not sure. There's a term for the type of game that this is, but they essentially give you a grid with a bunch of numbers, and you're trying to paint in a pixel style painting.
Are you talking about paint by numbers? Is that what you're describing to me right now?
No, this is not paint by numbers.
Okay. Are you sure?
I promise it's not paint by numbers.
Okay.
Nonogram. Is that the right word for it? Wait. I'm going to take a second to Google this. Fuck yourselves. Nonogram.
Is that what it? I've never heard.
No. Dang it.
Are you making this up? Is this?
No, I'm not.
Did you dream this? Is this a real
What
thing?
is this game called?
Picross. nanograms and picross. It's called paint it back. So like you're given a grid, and then on the sides, like around the grid, it'll be like, this is how many squares are all painted in a line or in a row. Oh, this is so hard to describe. It gets so
it's like
really hard.
Minesweeper, but you're making a picture.
Kind of. It's more like
that's
Sudoku.
what it looks like.
It's more like Sudoku than Minecraft. Or Minesweeper. Jesus.
Minecraft.
Minesweeper.
Yeah. But
Picross
like
is what everybody's saying. Picross. Nonogram, Picross, whatever. Fuck it. It's one of those.
Okay, sure.
But it starts off really easy, right? It'll be like, all right, in this row, there's 2 blocks that are painted in. And in this row, there's 2 blocks that are painted in. So which ones do you paint? And you're like, these 2. And it's like, good job. And then it turns into, all right, there are 20 that are entirely painted in this row. But then that next row has 5 that are painted and then 10 that are painted. But it's still a 20 by 20. So which ones do you paint? You're like, I don't know. It's really hard. I played a bunch of it on stream and did fine for the most part. And then I tried to play it by myself without the pressure of chat being right there, like, hey, you're fucking up. And then I did really badly. I did really badly all by myself. So this is like the first time I can say that chat pressured me into being good at a game instead of vice versa.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game is actually super fun. I wanna play more of it, even though I'm terrible when I'm by myself at that game. It's really hard. It's a really hard game.
I've been playing Vermintide, and that is extremely fun. That game rules.
That one is like, it's Warhammer.
Yeah, it's Warhammer Left 4 Dead, basically.
Left 4 Dead. That's the crossover Venn diagram I was looking for.
I've been playing Warhammer, like the miniature game, since I was in like 4th or 5th grade. So I'm like super invested in the universe, like you
and TotalBiscuit can be best friends forever.
Yeah, I love the Warhammer Fantasy specifically. 40K is all right, but I'm
shame they just fucked up all of Warhammer Fantasy by basically retconning everything, blowing up the whole fucking planet, and then replacing it with Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar. Basically, my friend told me, he was like, "Oh yeah, so Warhammer's dead now." I was like, "What? No." And he's like, "Go check the site." And I was like,
"Yeah,
there's
literally is. They literally the Earth was split in 2 and died.
Mm-hmm.
That was the plot."
Yeah, they were just like, well, because there was the whole like end times thing where they're like, oh yeah, they wanted Chaos to win because they wanted to redo everything, but Chaos didn't win, and they were just like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. We'll just, I'm sorry, can I?
Yeah, they just blew the fucking world up. Pretty much. And the weird thing about Vermintide is it's set in the end times. Yeah, so you've got that game there, but I have to wonder if Games Workshop will even let anybody set anything there that hasn't already started development, because obviously I imagine that. Total War Warhammer will be set in either the end times or one of the older settings.
Yeah.
But past that, they'll probably want people to make Age of Sigmar games.
Mm-hmm. Well, they pointed out Grimgor in one of the Total War things, I think. So that's kind of an indication that it's going to be end times, because he was like a big player in end time stuff. So, but yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Like, I'm really enjoying it, and specifically because it isn't really ranged focused, which, you know, like when you are playing Left 4 Dead, it's all mostly
all guns. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So when you're playing Vermintide, you're right up in their faces. You have to be, because you have such little maximum ammunition that it's really useful and you want to conserve it. So to fight in this game, you have to be like right up in their faces. So you're in like a melee in first person, and it is so cool and really, really enjoyable. I am having a blast with that game, and it's only pre-release. It's not even, the full version isn't even out. There's only 3 missions available right now. So it's really good.
They were looking for like 13, 14 missions on launch for that, and it does seem pretty great. Honestly, I love the melee system in it. It had a lot of impact to it, and especially if you were playing like the dwarf with his little sword and his hammer and shield and shit, you'd be like deflecting shit, and they'd be right up in your face, and you're really kind of meleeing them. I do need to try the Empire Soldier who has that big 2-handed warhammer. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Oh, my friend last night rolled an orange warhammer for the soldier, and it's got like a bunch of traits on it. I haven't gotten any orange stuff yet, but I've gotten some blue, some rare stuff, and it's like crazy good. It's got like a giant skull on it. It looks like a huge meat tenderizer with like gold filigree all over it. It's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. So I
Wait,
love that
so
stuff though.
is it like Left 4 Dead in that it's more zone based, like you complete a zone at a time, or
Yes. So you're going through your mission and it'll be like, okay, well, your first mission is to go to the guard tower. And then so you like work your way up to the guard tower and you're there. It's like, oh no, guards are dead. Okay, what now? So you have to make your way up to the top of this tower at the middle of the city to blow this horn to alert all the surrounding villages. So then you have to work your way up there and then, oh no, there's a door. You have to blow it up. So, you have to move these barrels and blow them up by placing them here. So it's very much like that. It's very like kind of mini objective to get to the end. And then once you do that, then you have to escape. It's really good. Like, I am having an absolute blast with this game. And it's, like I said, it's not even full release yet. It's only just like pre-release. It's
the main good thing about the game is that outside of, Left 4 Dead doesn't really do anything in terms of persistence. So with Vermintide, you get, if you beat a level, you get loot rolls at the end of it. Mm-hmm. So you can end up getting better loot, and it's persistent. So you can upgrade your character, and then you can tackle the harder difficulty levels with your better loot and shit.
Exactly.
So it's got a nice progression curve on it compared to Left 4 Dead, which really doesn't.
And one of the interesting things about the loot progression in it is as you're going through the level, you can grab these tomes or these books, and they take up your healing item slot. But if you take them to the end of the level, you get extra loot.
Yes.
So it's and there's even one that's called the Grimoire, and if you take that, it takes up your potion slot, but it reduces everyone's maximum health by 25%. But if you take that, you have like one super dice that has a really good chance of getting you higher on the loot table. It's really cool. So like you got to be like, do we want to get better loot or do we want to take the potion or what? It's cool. Yeah. So it's really good stuff.
Interesting.
Yes.
Vermintide's really legit. Probably like the first game in that genre, I think, that really matches Left 4 Dead in some way in terms of production values and also in terms of sustainability and actually keeping people playing it. Because loads of people try to do the horde multiplayer thing, and a lot of people make some really, really dull games. Mm-hmm. But the loot system in particular with Vermintide keeps you playing, and the kind of character progression. So we'll see what they do with the post-launch content. I think they're looking at adding new levels, but also new classes. So that will probably get people playing to level up a new class, get new loot and shit like that. So yeah.
I want him to add, I was talking with my friends, and I want him to add, ideally in a perfect world, I mean, if they have DLC characters, I will buy them in a heartbeat. I want him to add a Lizardman Saurus Warrior. Not going to happen, but I think it'd be pretty cool.
Troll Slayer would be pretty good. With kind of dual-wield axes and hammers and shit, just going berserk. That would be pretty great.
That would be really, really good. Also, any of the other mages, like from the other colleges of magic, like a metal wizard or something like that, or like a life wizard or something like that, because you just have the bright wizard right now, but it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sick.
I have been reading all about this End Times Age of Sigmar crap.
Uh-huh.
The fan base is super not happy.
They are not happy at all.
That's an understatement.
Wow. Like, wow. It's borderline outrage is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, basically, you're taking a game that's been the same for over 20 years, and because the whole game was done in regiments, so you had you had everything at square bases, and so it was all like traditional military stuff. You had your regiments, and you would line them up, and you would have your formations. But now everything's circle based and skirmishers. There's no you can combine any factions together if you have stuff from Chaos Demons and you want to play it with Empire. Okay, sure, do that. And they basically just wanted to make like
what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you have like a Bloodthirster, you can just put it in which is a greater demon. You can put it in an army with anything else. Just anything you want. High elves.
Yeah, it literally became like in a way pay to win. Because you could have as many units as it used to be a point system, so you just balance the armies based on points. Now it's just like, oh, you have a bigger army? Cool, play them. And the other guy gets some different objectives as a result of kind of being the underdog, which to some degree makes sense because it lets people that have a lot of units play with people that don't have all that many. But simultaneously, it also is like, yeah, just put whatever the fuck you want in there. Which means you can create some of the dumbest power gamey shit in the universe. Not really a huge fan of what they've done with that. But their argument was that, look, fantasy was not making them any money anymore. 40k is much, much more popular. and they really needed to revamp it and make it more accessible. I mean, the thing's got a 4-page fucking rulebook.
Yeah.
You know, bear in mind the old ones are like 120 pages.
I was gonna say that sounds like it's got some complicated rule sets. 4 whole pages. My goodness.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar is a lot easier. A lot easier.
I mean, you can still play 8th edition. There's nothing stopping you, but the only problem is that some armies never got an update for 8th edition, so you just can't play them, which really sucks.
Because they suck, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, Bretonia is not updated for 8th edition, so it's like, whatever. But, you know, I mean, you can still play with the rulebooks that they made for 8th edition. There's nothing stopping you. It's just, I don't think they're going to update it anymore. I think that's the end.
I can't imagine they will.
Oh my god, guys. So Sam and I were watching the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour this weekend, and I was like, we've got like 2.5 hours to kill before we're going to be leaving the house for this wedding. So I bet we'll be able to watch at least through the semifinals. So, like, we've got to see 2 games total in that amount of time because they kept doing these weird things where they'd be like, all right, time for part 3 of our lore roundup for this most recent expansion. And it would be like an hour of them being like, just like, I can't even mimic it because all of the words were Magic the Gathering words, right? So we were watching it and I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. I have no idea who any of these people are, what any of these factions are, these races. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. And Sam just goes, this is why everyone hates Magic the Gathering. I was like, no, I feel so bad for them because it's so interesting. All of the difference between watching, say, StarCraft versus watching Magic the Gathering, all of the people who do commentary for Magic the Gathering are older. Like, it feels much more like they're mimicking sort of traditional sports casting, right? Because they've been around for so long. Like, Magic has been around for so long at this point that it's totally different from watching esports now. And they do a lot of the same sort of things where they're like, all right, well, I know that we just saw that, but let's do a whole recap of that entire game. And we're like, no, we don't need that. We just watched it. We don't need you to do that. And they're like, great. Now let's do an interview with this pro player's best friend. And we're like, no, that's not necessary.
Well,
like,
I mean,
no,
they're filling time at that point.
They're filling time. Yeah. And I was like, I just want to see the semifinals so bad. Just let it happen. And then we had to leave the house. It was bizarre. I was like, man, there's like so much just like fluff, but it's very much more like watching ESPN, right? Just like lots of chatter and videos that they've made to build hype, and yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, it's always really funny when you're watching them and they're like, you know, they like tap an island or tap a land for mana, and it's just like they try and hype that up as much as possible because sometimes they have to think about it. They're like, oh, is he going to tap that? Is he going to tap that for mana? Is he?
Oh,
will he do it?
He
did it. He did it. Okay, that frees. Yeah,
it's like golf.
Yeah,
Magic
it is.
Gathering is like the golf of I don't want to say esports, but card sports, where it's like they have to get excited about everything, or but doing that very polite, excited. Like, do you think he's gonna tap the mana? I think he is. That's a mana tap. We have a mana tap. That is a mana tap.
That gives him 3 floating. What can he do with that? Let's look at his hand. He could play this. It's like, okay. Right.
Well, I mean, that's a lot like Hearthstone. It's just the thing is that Magic Gathering takes a lot longer simply because of all the responses and the chains of actions and shit that can end up happening, which can drag the game out. And the opportunity to respond to pretty much everything you do, whereas Hearthstone obviously doesn't have that. But still, the commentary style is quite similar.
And they have, like, the 2 people who are playing, and then 6 people who are standing around them to make sure that they follow the rules, make sure that they're not cheating, make sure that they're counting correctly. Like, everybody's doing their own math to make sure they're all on the same. It's fascinating. Like, watching them actually play the game is really fun, but yeah, like, Magic has such rich, deep lore at this point that hearing them try to catch people up on the lore is just a shit show. I was like, I don't know what any of this means. I don't know what literally any of this means.
One thing that was really funny to me about the Magic the Gathering lore is that I didn't know that, like the original, like the base sets of Magic, like the old sets of Magic had a continuing story until maybe I was in high school, because I'd been playing Magic at that point for like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years. And I went back and I was like, oh my God, like the alpha and beta sets, like with Urza and Mishra, and there's like this whole thing. They're like, oh yeah, there was a story. And I was like, I never read any of those because they gave you the books, the little booklets with the story in them. I was like, I just threw that shit away. I didn't read it.
Yeah.
I figured that was the 300-page rule book, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
obviously.
I mean, yeah, it was ridiculous. So it was like I never knew that there was this whole ongoing story, and like up through Weatherlight and the whole, you know, Phyrexian stuff, and that whole deal with like making Karn, and it was just like, I don't understand any of this. You had an ongoing story the whole time I was playing.
Yeah.
But whatever, I just didn't notice it, I guess.
It's really fun looking at chat right now, too, because people are like, oh, yes, well, right now we've got this guy who might be dead. Actually, I think they retconned that. I think he's alive now. I'm just like, yeah, it's like...
Exactly. Should I be taking notes?
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I remember I was like, I really kind of like the Planeswalker stuff. That's pretty cool. People were like, that's baby shit. I was like, oh, all right, well.
Well, excuse me.
It's like, yeah, don't really need to feel the need to impress any of you at this point.
yeah.
Oh no, our Magic the Gathering cred has disappeared in ashes.
You guys might realize that we're not good at games. No.
How the illusion shattered.
Yeah, your immersion ruined forever.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
All I remember is there was an awesome video game a long time ago, which I think was a Planeswalker game, but it was almost 20 years ago. Microprose made it, and it was Magic the Gathering, but you'd like wander around this world and do these quests and shit, and acquire cards that way and learn about the lore. It was really cool.
Huh. That's cool.
They haven't made anything anywhere near as good as that since, actually. Most of the Magic the Gathering video games have been pretty piss poor, which is a shame.
I never messed around much with dual Planeswalkers, but I had some friends who really liked those.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were apparently pretty okay.
I had a badass Chandra deck. I could drop some fire spells up your butt. Just fire up.
Talk about lighting a fire under my ass. Hey.
Don't
we
try to
got
make it
jokes.
funny. Don't try to make it funny.
This
My
is very
fire
serious.
up your butt that's as far as we go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
okay.
level of humor we have.
That's it.
That's
Okay.
it. That's the
Okay.
threshold.
Gotta fire up your butt. That's it. Bad puns your uncle would make that he thinks are the real puns but aren't.
That's not even a pun. Jesse. That's not what puns are.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like the one that your uncle be like, yeah, I'm gonna light a fire up your butt. And you're like, oh, that's not even a saying. And he's like,
Jesse, that doesn't make sense.
Be like a tree and eat a banana. You're like, that's not even. No one says that. Nobody has ever said that.
Just that doesn't make any sense anyway.
No one has ever said
make any
that.
sense. Go ask your mom, man.
Hey, go get me another beer.
That's what Jesse's gonna be like as an uncle one day.
Hey, go get me a beer.
Speaking of rich, deep story, I played all of the first chapter of Minecraft Story Mode.
Oh,
and that's been a hilarious shit show. Just the most hilarious shit show of stuff because, you know, it's Telltale, who make really good QTE story-based games. Making a story inside of... Yes.
2-3 years ago, really good QTE-based games I would have accepted. Overused, same fucking thing every time games.
They do utilize the same format, but I mean, they're still good games. They're still good games. Anyways, so taking that format and then applying it to Minecraft and making a Minecraft spinoff, I don't think they realized how much of a shit show they were going to get with people being like, I bought this Minecraft game and I couldn't even build a house in it. 0 out of 10. Like, so many of the reviews are like, this isn't a Minecraft game. You don't build in it. And I'm just like, oh my God. It's
Why?
incredible.
Did these people just not read the description of the game before they bought it, or what?
No, they think that it's going to be... A bunch of people thought this was going to be Minecraft, but with like a single player story campaign, basically. And that's not what it is. Obviously, it's a Telltale story QTE game, and people are like, what the fuck is this? The one the one complaint that I find very, very grounded in reality is a lot of people have played this game and been like, the animation is a little weird in it, which I do agree with. I'm totally fine with it, but literally anytime somebody smiles in this game, it looks like they're doing like the...
Oh, the DreamWorks face? No!
It's so funny. Every smile looks like it's supposed to be kind of a smarmy, you want to go touch butt smile, which is weird. It's really strange. Like, for some reason, they couldn't animate like a sweet smile or just like a normal smile. Everybody looks like they're coming on each other.
Well, Telltale can't animate worth toffee, let's be honest. Like, there's been complaints over the last few years about the fact that Telltale hasn't upgraded their engine at all, is pretty shitty at animations, and that continues to be the case. And I suppose it's nice that they can kind of hide it under the Minecraft aesthetic. But their engine's fucking old, and they haven't really improved it over the last few years because, well, why would you need to? Honestly, they're making too many games at the same time right now anyway.
Yeah.
And they're making a shitload of money hand over fist on pretty much all of them, so when would you get the time?
Well, and it's a big problem, too, especially with Minecraft, because so many people have been, like really big, popular YouTubers have been doing Minecraft machinimas for years.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody's got, like, a style that you're used to seeing that works really well within the community, and then, you know, Telltale makes a game where it's nothing like the sort of machinima people are used to. Yeah. So it winds up just looking kind of weird. I think, story-wise, though, I think that it's really cute and fun. I enjoyed it. I got invested in it. There's a pet pig. It's adorable.
Okay.
It's not, it's, you know, it's not trying to be fucking Game of Thrones or Wolf Among Us. It's not like a super dark story. It's just like
a bunch of friends who are in a Minecraft competition, and then, oh no, Vortex opens. Where does it go?
It seems like it's aimed at kids.
Yeah.
It is. They do say hell in it. I was like,
oh.
Goodness gracious.
Shocking.
I know.
Really. Shocking.
I know.
I remember when I was little, they said hell one time, and Clarissa explains it all, and I was like, whoa, they can't do it.
I liked in kids' movies when they would say the occasional shit. I'd be like,
or crap. Even just crap. I was like,
they said crap in Ren and Stimpy one time, and I was like, should I be watching this? Like, am I allowed to see this right now?
That's what put me on the path I am today. Bad language in movies and TV.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm such a total dickhole right now in life. It's because I watched a cartoon say poop when I was younger, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna grow up and talk shit on the internet.
Talk crap.
Talk poop on the internet.
Talk duty on the internet.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys? Oh, actually, never mind. No, I already started it. Did any of you guys ever, when you were little, sit in your room by yourself and say bad words to like no one? Just
no. That was just you.
I used to sit in my room and just be like,
I think I
fart.
was just...
And then I'd start laughing, and then I'd be like,
yeah, it was definitely
crap.
just you.
And then I'd start laughing when I was a little kid.
No, but what I would do is I used to play this game called Dungeon Hack, where it was like a D&D game, and I would name all of my characters like the worst names I could think of, like like fart shit or stuff like that. And
so Dodger today, currently actively Dodger in real life right now.
That's literally every time I name anybody in a game.
And there was we also had this old DOS Wheel of Fortune game, and I would always guess. I thought it was the most hilarious thing to guess curse words as the answer to the puzzle. They were never right, unfortunately, but you know, hey, I got a good laugh out of it.
But hey.
Yeah.
Although, admittedly, when Siri first came out on the iPhone, the first thing I did was ask her like the dirtiest shit imaginable, because I was like, I want to see what a robot says to this stuff. So I would just be like, Siri, where can I fuck some shit up and get some poon? And she'd be like, I'll check the internet.
Every single time there's an update, like there was just an update, and they always say, we've optimized Siri. And I always wonder, what did you add? What sort of questions can I ask now that she had no answer for last time?
In the beginning, you could be like, Siri, where can I get some whores? And she'd be like, here's 15 locations. You used to be able to like do that. And now it's like, grow up. It's like, ew, grow up.
Just finally, when like, I hope like, if someday there's a successor to Siri on like the last update to Siri, they're just like, finally, Siri will just say fuck. You know what? Whatever. We don't care.
Yeah, back in the day, people would be like, Siri, where can I bury a body? And she'd be like, here are 15 locations. And they'd all be really good suggestions. Like, one of them would always be like a local swamp, and you're like, this is sick, but amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of them is just like a dumpster.
Yeah.
It's the closest dumpster to you.
It was never funeral homes. It was always like, Siri, where can I bury a body? And she'd be like, here are some locations. And it'd always be like a local park. Like, Chris. Great.
Oh gosh. Yep.
A tree that nobody checks ever.
Yeah. This old willow. Put it inside this old willow. Are we done with your game, Snatcher? What have you played?
Let's see. Yeah, Minecraft story mode. I played Skyhill. Did any of you play Skyhill?
I have.
Yeah, that game is pretty fun too. That's another one that's kind of like Downwell, where you're like, all right, let's see how far I can get. All right, I got a little bit farther that time. I've only played on easy, but I forgot that I was playing on easy because I thought about playing on normal and then didn't. So I got pretty far. I got to floor. So for those of you who are watching right now, Skyhill is this game where you're starting on the 100th floor and you're trying to get to the first floor because the world's gone to shit. Yeah. And so I got down to, what was it, chat? I got to like 35, maybe in the 20s, actually. I can't remember. I got into like the 2030s area, and I was like, I'm doing pretty good, and then I died. And then the game was like, good job. You got pretty far on easy mode. I was like, oh, that's right. I was playing on easy. No. But that game was pretty fun. They try to add in some story elements. There's cassette tapes that you can find, and you can find phones, like abandoned phones that'll have text messages on them implying that people are still alive on different floors and things like that. That's another game that's pretty straightforward. It's like you go down a level, you kill everything on that level. You go down a level, you kill everything on that level.
There's crafting, and you can take. You can
fix
the elevator
stuff.
And go back up to your. Yeah.
You craft stuff. You see if you can find food. You try to fortify and make better weapons and
try to beat up monsters in their head, because some monsters you can headshot them.
It's true.
So
I didn't understand the percentages at first. At first, when it was like, you can either just shoot them willy-nilly or you can like try to shoot a specific body part. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. And I thought it was, I don't even know. I'm trying to remember how they write it out there. But I thought that I thought that if the percentage was high, that I would do more damage for some reason, but I realized
that's just a hit. That's just a hit.
Yeah, it would be like, all right, here's a spot that'll do a lot of damage, but there's a low percentage that you'll actually get it, right? And I was like, oh, it took me a couple tries before I was like, oh, I get how the system works now. I'm an idiot. Yeah.
So I played a game.
Yes, go on.
The name of Renowned Explorers.
What?
I'm gonna Google that.
Yes. Which sounds, when you initially think about it, as some like a hidden object game, but that's not in any way true. Its full name is Renowned Explorers International Society. It is a turn-based tactics roguelite exploration game in which you put together a party of 3 brave explorers from a selection of like 20, and you start off on this little island and you basically move around kind of like FTL. You pick the location to go and then you move, and every time you move it takes 1 supply to do it. Sure. And you encounter a bunch of different events, challenges, and you're trying to gather resources and shit like that, and then beat whatever the thing is at the end. And once you've done that, you unlock this big world map. And on this world map, you can use the resources that you've gathered to start improving your expedition. So the aim is to beat, I think, 5 levels and become the top explorer in the guild. And in order to do that, you've got to have successful expeditions where you find a lot of rare treasure, and you up your status as a big explorer, and you make yourself more famous. You can handle like journalists to buff up your status every time you do something. You can handle researchers to enable you to research new tech and all that kind of thing. And of course, you can.
Looks super fun.
Yeah, it's great.
The art style's really cool.
Yeah, the art style is kind of great, and you can.
It reminds me of Disney's Atlantis.
That's my favorite Disney movie.
It's got a nice, colorful art style. The animations in particular are really, really awesome. And one of the weird, sort of unique-ish things about the game is that they have an emotion system in the combat. Mm-hmm. So they wanted to make it so that you could actually win without fighting, basically.
Huh.
So in order to do that, you can win in one of three ways. You can win aggressively by beating the shit out of them. You can win deceptively or deviously, which, manipulate them, scare them off, make them upset. Or you can win friendly, which means to convince them that you're awesome. And the way that you do that is by using these different colored abilities. The green ones are friendly abilities. The blue ones are deception abilities, devious abilities, and the red ones are aggressive abilities. And depending on who you're fighting, it's going to change what sort of strategy you adopt. And once you start acquiring items and specialists and shit, you'll probably start to find yourself falling down a particular path and playstyle. Because maybe if you resolve encounters on a friendly level, you get a bonus research token, which can be turned into research points at the end of the mission and all that kind of shit. And obviously the guys that you pick for your team are also going to dictate what you're good at as well, because they develop skills, and the kind of more aggressive guys are, for the most part, about punching people and using physical abilities to knock people out. And then there's the kind of diplomats who can, there's literally an ability called Peace Treaty, which is an AoE thing where he just gets this giant flag out and he's like, yeah, you want to be friends? And they're sometimes like, yeah, because the way that the health works in that game is it's not health, it's spirit. And you can break their spirit in various ways. You can make them so depressed that they run off crying. You can terrify them. You can impress them and convince them that your cause is just, or you can break their spirit by knocking them unconscious. So
all great dating tips as well.
Yeah. So all of those abilities kind of work in the same way, in the sense that they all remove spirit health, but some are better than others, and depending on your particular attitude, it creates what's called a vibe on the battlefield, which is a sort of global effect, which depends on what attitude the enemy has versus what attitude you have. So let's say you are playing aggressively, but the other guy's playing deviously. Devious beats aggressive, so you actually get a debuff called emasculated, whereby you become weak to speech effects. And it's supposed to represent you getting super insulted and confused and all that sort of thing. So some are going to give you advantages, some are going to give you disadvantages, and you've kind of got to manipulate that global mood in order to give yourself buffs and all that sort of thing. It's kind of great. It really is. It's a lot of fun. You can beat a game probably in about an hour and a half, but obviously the game's designed to be played over and over again, because you unlock new characters and treasures and things like that, and every game is a little bit different in the way that you play through. It's also really fucking hard, at least if you play on Classic. You get absolutely murdered. But they have easier difficulty levels, and that game seems to have slipped under many people's radar. It actually slipped under mine. I only picked it up recently, and it's fucking great. Really, really good. So I'd absolutely recommend that.
Sounds fun.
Has anybody played Death State at all?
Death State or Dead State?
Death State. Death State? Death State.
What that is.
It's the dungeon crawler bullet hell game. I think it came out the last couple of days. Wait.
Oh, you're talking about Undertale, right? The
oh,
bullet hell game?
Yeah. Undertale? Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
I
one.
can't
it
find
came out on-
anything on YouTube about this. Is it one word, Death State, or two?
Yeah, it came out. Oh, it came out yesterday. Oh, it just
here's
came
the
out.
trailer.
Oh.
I'm looking at some pictures online. This is cool. Retro pixel style.
Because we
TV's
don't have
favorite.
enough of those, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm watching it right now. Non-stop action.
Yeah, I'm really curious how it is.
Oh my.
I remembered
Okay.
it was going to be coming out.
Roguelite bullet hell shooter. So Isaac on crack by the looks of it. Now you're a pharaoh for some reason. I don't know why that is.
This is
I guess
I think
that's
there are
power.
different characters you can play.
Yeah. This looks crazy. And I would never get past the first level, I imagine.
Well, I'll try it out. Maybe
Yeah.
talk about it next week.
this
Yeah.
is fun.
I do like the trend towards making combat systems in these games better. Because I'm going to be frank, like, Isaac's combat system is shit. And really, really basic. And a lot of those games that came out earlier are like that. And now they're saying, oh, well, what if we took these ideas, but we attached a combat system that makes sense? You know, like the Sub-Level Zero, which is the Descent kind of 6 Degrees of Freedom game that I played recently. that was like, oh, this is like a first-person shooter.
Right.
Or, of course, something like this, where it's like, oh, this is like a really intense kind of bullet hell. I can dig that.
Yeah. Sometimes people take two genres and figure out how to make it really, really work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth trying out, I think.
Yeah, looks good. Definitely looks good. Should we take a break? Sounds like a good
Sure.
idea.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
gonna heat up my coffee because I'm freezing in this room. I don't. Jesse, is your room cold?
I mean, yeah, but I'm like 20,000 times you, so you know, you get what God
Okay.
gave you. God gave you a sweater. God
Mhm.
built me a sweater. Also, praise Jesus, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Praise the
I
Lord.
see.
Let's
We'll
take
be
a break.
right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. What? Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. Good returns.
Yes, indeed. Before you lot hijack the show again, I'm going to talk about Steam Link and the Steam controller, because I have both. So we
Go
can talk
for
about
it.
that.
How's that controller, TV?
How is that controller?
How is it?
Right.
All right. Takes a lot of getting used to. Let me put it that way. It is, in many ways, quite similar to an Xbox 360 controller, except the fucking face buttons are at the bottom instead of here. Now, so this is actually, I have my Steam controller. I could just fucking show it to you, and that's what a 360 pad looks like. Be right back. That's not a Steam controller at all,
it.
but I can show you what it looks like. I will be right back.
All right, so now we
Okay.
can derail the D-roll. Now we
Okay,
can
I've got a
de-roll
good one.
this.
I've got a good one.
Uh-huh.
Not even good enough
Okay,
for the B-roll. It's the
so
D-roll.
I just realized. So I have this Hunter x Hunter mug that I love. The
Right.
character is named Hisoka, but I just now realized that the mug says Hiskoa. It's spelled wrong on the mug.
Is that like Is that official merchandise?
I don't know.
I
I
hope
got it
God,
at
I hope
Anime-
so.
I
hope
got it
so.
at Anime.
I was going for
Expo.
10 seconds and
I
you
don't
weaved this
know.
show up again. Again!
That's what
I
happens.
just
That's what happens
realized
with
the thing that rocked my world.
Oh dear.
This mug says Hiskoa.
That's not even a real word. That's the Steam controller.
No.
Yeah? So if you compare the Steam controller to, if we can fit them both in the frame, that you can clearly kind of see. Yeah, they're about the same size, but there's pretty obvious differences. Like, for instance, the thumbstick, of which there is only one, and the face buttons are both all down at the bottom. And the face buttons are actually quite small in comparison to the 360 controller. But you've got these fucking pads up to the top here. So this one, and you can hear the satisfying click here, is basically a D-pad. It's got, I assume it's mechanical, kind of switch thing. And then you've got this in the middle, which, over the side, which is a trackpad. And that's got some pretty crazy haptic feedback on it. So every time you move even slightly, it's rattling in different ways and trying to give you the more tactile experience. And the whole point of this is that you can use it as a replacement for either a mouse or for your right thumbstick. So if you were... It's kind of hard to do at this angle, that's impossible. But you get the idea. With a regular 360 pad or even a PlayStation pad, you would be using both thumbs, and then you use your face buttons and all that kind of thing from there. Which is weird as fuck, because thumbsticks, well, they have an end as to where they can go. They have a limit as to how far they can travel. The haptic trackpad does not. So, in theory, the trackpad allows for much, much more accurate play of games like FPS. Much more accurate than a stick. But it's fucking annoying as shit to use for the most part, and it can also be used to replace a mouse. So if you want to use the Steam Link to play fucking Civilization 5 on your television, this is supposed to emulate the mouse. And it does, but it emulates it about as well as a trackpad. Which, in trackpads are bad. So, I mean, I don't imagine they're expecting people to try and play some, RTS or whatever on it. It's totally fine for turn-based games. But for things like real-time strategies, I don't think this is going to be accurate enough at all to even kind of justify it.
The button placement on that, the I don't know what they are, but the A, B, X, those.
It's so close.
It
It's
does not-
tiny.
They're really close
it
together.
literally bucks the trend just to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're playing games like this now, right up. I don't know that I like that. I mean, did you notice that?
It's a problem. It's a problem for me because I have large hands, so these buttons are way small as far as I'm concerned, and they're way too close together. I was repeatedly pressing the wrong button as a result of that because of how fucking close together they are, as you can barely tell. And then, of course, this is right next to Y. So if I use my thumb to hit that button, which pretty much anybody would, then this is what happens. I hit the trackpad on the edge of the trackpad. So what fucking happens if you're using the trackpad as the second thumbstick? Well, you're going to hit your attack, but you're also probably going to wangle the camera around or something along those lines. So
when I wangle the camera.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's weird how they space things out. Really, really strange.
Because
I don't
I
know. I'm trying to play with my Xbox controller. Like, how do I do that? Because for years, literally years, the buttons have been up here.
Totally.
And, like, it doesn't... I don't know. That would drive me crazy.
It's really hard to deal with. Like, it's very, very tricky. I think what's the Wii U Pro controller like with the setup there? Because that's a little bit different, isn't it? Wii U Pro controller.
I haven't even touched that
this
either.
controller? This is Pro.
That's not the
I
Pro.
don't know.
That's
There's
not the
one
Pro.
for
No,
the
the Wii
Wii
U
U.
Pro controller actually has the face buttons at the bottom, just like the Steam controller does. No, in fact, it's I suppose relatively similar, but but it's kind of reversed. Like the D-pad, which is this thing, is at the top and the thumbstick is at the bottom. Whereas on the Wii U Pro controller, what they did was they put the thumbstick and the other thumbstick up here, and then they put the face buttons down there, which was a little bit weird, but not completely outside the realms of possibility. This is just bizarre.
Smash.
Yeah,
I use the Wii U Pro controller for Smash, and it's great. I love it. But...
yeah, it's gonna take like a serious amount of brain retraining, I think. But
I can't do it. I can barely figure out where the X button is between this effing controller and a PlayStation controller. Every time QTE comes up, I have to look down. Like, all right, X is where now? I'm too old for this shit. I can't have a new controller. You can't do this to me, Steam. Everything's got to look the exact same at this point.
yeah, it's weird. It's going to take a lot of brain retraining. But like I said, I think, these face buttons are maybe the biggest problem. The weird thing is that you can rebind, like, almost anything on this to almost anything. Like, it's... The amount of customization you have with this thing is fucking ludicrous. You can do all sorts of things with it. And as a result, you can use regions on the trackpad as face buttons. So,
interesting.
A, X, Y, B. Could do that if you wanted to. So there's a lot that you can do there. And it also has, it's got bumpers, shoulders, which have 2 levels of press. Like, I'm pretty sure these are analog, so you've got an analog signal there, but if you press down, you get a click. So you can use either or. And then you've also got back paddles right back here. These are also 2 buttons.
What is the weight distribution like? How does it feel?
Weight's fine for me, honestly. Actually feels maybe even a little bit lighter than I would like.
I was gonna say I like my controllers a little heavier, personally.
Me too.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, considering the size, it's surprisingly light. But
which is why I'm not a fan of the PlayStation controller. I feel it's too light. The DualShock is a little bit too light for me. That's why I really like the Xbox controllers.
I had to put a battery pack on it to make it feel like it was heavier. So now I get like twice the battery, but it feels heavier. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you can do that. It's just going to take a lot of getting used to. I do like the level of customization, and the way that the kind of moving on to the Steam Link works with it is really great as well. So they want you to have both for obvious reasons, because if you're using the Steam Link in front of a television or whatever, you probably don't want to be using a mouse and keyboard. You can, if you like, but you're probably going to be using a controller. So the way that they have it set up is you turn on the Steam Link, actually just by I can hold down the Steam button on the controller to turn the Steam Link on, and instantly it goes to big picture mode, straight away. And that means it's going to change your host computer to that as well. So it's seeing kind of what you're seeing on your monitor. So it'll be, because it is streaming at that point from your base machine. At that point, you can choose to play any game that you have installed, or you can install games directly from there onto your PC and then stream that way. And it's really easy to use. It took no effort whatsoever to set up. I set it up in about 10 minutes. It connected via Ethernet to my router, and then I plugged, had it go into the same router as my PC. So it's all hardwired, and as a result, the streaming works perfectly for me. I don't know how it's going to be like over Wi-Fi. I have not tried Wi-Fi. I imagine the Wi-Fi is probably not brilliant. It's probably got a lot more latency. But over Ethernet, the games run really, really well. I mean, 1080p 60 on every game I played, which I thought was awesome. And another thing that it does, which is great, which is a Steam controller piece of functionality, is you can share your keybinds. And as a result, if you go into a game that doesn't actually have a controller set up natively, it will give you a set of options.
That's really cool. So if somebody figures out like the most
best
intuitive
one,
way to
yes.
utilize the controller, you can be like, all right, I'll try
his
this
method.
person's setup.
Yeah, and each of them has a
Interesting. That's
description,
really cool.
depending on, what exactly it does. So, like, I went into Undertale, for instance, and Undertale had a bunch of options, and I was able to just play Undertale straight off with the controller, no problem at all. And there's a bunch of other games that people haven't really got to yet, because obviously there aren't a lot of controllers on the market as of yet. But I tried, like, playing Renowned Explorers or Hand of Fate and things with it. Renowned Explorers in particular, it's like, well, this is a turn-based game where I have to use the trackpad. So I just set it up using... there's an option which is just WASD keyboard and mouse. I just picked that and went, and it was fine. The right bumper was click, and I was able to use the trackpad. It was fine. So, I mean, overall, the experience has been really, really good so far, for me, anyway. It's a nice little piece of tech.
So you think once there are a bunch on the market
Of controllers, yeah. I think
we'll
things will get
wind
a lot
up
better.
having a situation where there's probably going to be somebody who figures out the best way to play the game, and you'll be able to just utilize their method.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know if there's a way of rating or anything like that, so I have a feeling that it's going to take some time for things to shake loose and figure out which is the best one, and you could very easily upload just a troll one or whatever, and people could end up picking it, so I would imagine that would be a factor. I mean, big picture has a lot of work to do anyway. It's not the ideal kind of setup. I'd like to, for instance, be able to play movies and videos through it, and technically you can. It's got a videos list, and I'm like, oh, could I put some video in here? And they're like, we're not going to tell you how to do that. So if you can play video over the Steam link, I don't know how. You can play music, no problem at all. It automatically searches all of your soundtracks on Steam, and you can add more music to it, so that's good. But, like, you can add apps like VLC, and I'm like, okay, I've added VLC, I can just load VLC using this. I was like, yes, you can, but the way that it does it, it has this, it's basically unusable. It pops up on one of your monitors, and it kind of tries to show you that, and then if you have two monitors, it tries to show both monitors on the display, which is a fucking nightmare, and then you try and use it, and everything's so small that there's just, like, no way to do it. I imagine, like, if there was some kind of VLC remote thing you could use just to stream your video from your computer that way, but as it stands, like, this is only good for Steam games. If you try it with anything else, you're probably going to have issues.
Right.
Speaking of anything else, what is it? 7 days? 5 days? 6 days till Xbox Pro controller is out?
Ah, yes,
or
that's
whatever
it,
it's
yeah.
called.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. that they were
$150
putting out
for
a
that
new
thing,
controller
right?
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is that?
Here's the thing. I still want it, even though it's ludicrously expensive. I still desperately want it.
What is it?
It's okay. So it's like it has. I don't know how to describe it. It has buttons that you can
It's
change.
quite
in the
similar
back.
to this, which is a SCUF controller. Which is modified for that kind of thing. It has a number of features like the ability to, I mean, you probably can't see it from there. There's a tiny little thing. You could put you can twist that around and you can change the sensitivity and the resistance on pretty much everything. And it has 4 paddles on the back, which can be bound to various things. Like, apparently a lot of the ideas came from SCUF in the first place. So, because they were making controllers for people that played competitive COD and shit like that. And you wanted to be able to customize absolutely everything. That's basically what the Elite controller is.
It has multiple thumbstick, like you can replace things. The directional pad isn't, like the normal, like
Cross
plus
thing.
sign.
Yeah.
It is like a circle that has little notches where you can move it like completely around. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty legit. The back has you can go in and like mess with the not tightness, whatever, like the pushback of like levers and stuff. It's pretty dope. I don't know if it's worth it, but I want it. Like it's one of those things like I just
this is
want
pretty
it.
cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, people have this weird idea about how much controllers should cost, and then if anyone has got involved in fighting games at all, they realize that actually it can go a lot higher than that. My hitbox was $185. That's just a giant box with a lot of buttons.
Yeah, my stick was $600. but
Yeah.
it's completely customized. So
Yeah, so people are like, "Oh, $150 for controller is ridiculous." No. If you're looking for a good quality controller, and it's not in any way ridiculous. I mean, fuck, this keyboard was more than that. Come on.
yeah.
If you want a
And
standard
because-
controller, that's cool, but you're gonna miss out on some of the quality there.
And because it's Xbox, that means that I can instantly then just really quickly switch it over to all the PC stuff that I play with controller, and then that's more buttons that I can mess around with to make it even easier. Man, I keep talking myself into it. At first, I was like, "That's cool," but who would ever buy that? Now I'm like, "Oh, I just want it so badly." It might be my next purchase. I want it. I want it so much.
You get what you pay for when it comes to controllers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I found it odd. I think that PC gamers reacted in such a weird way. It's like, you guys spend $200 on a mechanical keyboard and like $120 on a really good laser mouse, and you're gonna balk at people spending $150 on a controller? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Think about it in that way, and I think that people will rapidly realize. But it's not for everybody. Of course, it's not for everybody. You could spend that on a lot of other things. If you're fine with your current controller, then stick with your current controller.
Yeah.
Right.
They're targeting a very specific audience.
Yeah, of course.
I think. Yeah.
And TB's right. It's the exact same target, like focus that, oh yeah, well, you can have a mouse that has 85,000 buttons on it for whatever game you're playing, but no one needs that mouse, but people want, there's a certain target demographic that wants it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Same thing with the controller.
Yeah, I used the Naga when I played WoW, and I needed all those buttons. I needed all, 12 was it, buttons on there?
Yeah, it's got 12 buttons on the side, yeah.
Yeah, I needed all of those for all my abilities. That's what I did. Yeah.
Now that's totally useless. You don't ever.
Yeah.
You don't need to have 12 things going at once in WoW anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was playing an enhancement shaman, so I think my rotation cooldown had like 15 abilities in it or something like that. So I needed all of those. Yeah.
Well, I'm with you. I've been there.
Yeah. But yeah. It's all about what you want out of the thing. And I mean, did I need to spend that much on a stick? No, but I wanted something that's going to last me a long time and was nice. So, if you put the money into it, you're going to get a good product out of it. So,
and a lot of the time, sticks are vanity items as well.
Oh, absolutely, mine's
you're
vanity.
Playing with it and showing it off at the same time.
Oh, absolutely,
like,
mine's
look at
got
this
lights.
fucking cool...
And... Yeah. So that's what I do when I go to fighting game tournaments.
Yeah, it's all about especially if you're at a tournament. It's all about the flash, and especially fighting game. There has never been a more appropriate place to be flashy than at a fighting game tournament.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
Well, sometimes then there's that guy. Although I guess this is another way of being flashy. There's always that guy who shows up and is just like, I'm just gonna use a normal controller, and then just annihilates people. They're like, what the fuck?
Like a Luffy
PS1 controller.
Yeah, with a PS1 controller. It's like whatever. And I think Snake Eyes plays with a fight pad.
He does play with a fight pad,
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I'm surprised he can play that well on a fight pad, because fight pads are, I mean, maybe I just got the wrong generation of them, but they're pretty shitty quality.
I've never really used one, but I'm just so nervous.
Have, and I didn't really like it too much. I only used it for as long as I needed to until I get something better. I got a converter for my Sega Saturn pad, the Mac 2. And that's wonderful for fighting games because, hey, you know what was on Sega Saturn? 2D fucking fighting games. All of them. So it was really well designed for that. But because I really can't play with sticks, I've tried. And finding the right thing was a nightmare until I could get a hitbox. And the hitbox for me is the best. Like, that is absolutely what I want out of a fighting game controller. It's ideal.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm just waiting until they make an Atari Jaguar adapter. And then
oh my God.
But until then.
That thing is awful. I actually had my first chance to play on one of those. I'd never played an Atari Jaguar, and I got to do that while I was back in England because they had this big games kind of exhibition at the Centre for Life, which is like a science centre in Newcastle, and they had an Atari Jaguar, and it was playing Tempest 2000. And my conclusion is that controller is fucking awful. Just really awful and bad in every way.
With the numpad on there? Jaguar.
Just...
Dodger, what was the name of that? The Living Computer Museum? Was that the name of it?
Living Computer Museum in Seattle.
Shout out to Seattle's Living. If you want to go back and play old school shit, go there. The
Like
Living Computer
really
Museum.
old games on really old computers that they've got working again.
They have like the very first computers in working condition that you can just go like, you know what? I'm gonna dick around with this and see what it does. There's some crazy stuff there.
When I was at PAX East a few years ago. Usually at some of the PAXs they'll have like old game or like old system exhibitions, and it's like hidden in one of the rooms off to the side. And I was actually hanging out with Toby, Undertale Toby, and he was like, "Oh, they have a Vectrex here," and I was like, "What?" And we played Spike on the Vectrex, and he was like, I was looking, I'd never seen one before, and there was like all sorts of old games you could play. It was super fun.
Have you ever played on an Acorn Archimedes Death Ray before?
I have never.
Funny, Jesse, very funny.
You should look that up.
Idiot.
That's for the old fans. Thanks for watching.
Oh my god.
Mm.
What else
yeah,
have we been playing this week?
This is not a new game, but I picked it up again recently because it's on sale on Steam. Is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
That's a good game.
That's a good game. I remember because I'm a huge White Wolf role-playing game fan, and it's like $5 now, and it's the month of scary. So I figured I'd play a horror-themed game. Really good.
Fuck that hotel.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah.
it.
That was one of the first games that scared me so bad I had to turn it off.
Fuck
Yeah.
And it's the only scary bit in the entire. It pretty much is the only scary bit in that entire fucking game.
You
But
almost
it's
took it
so
back, and then you were like, no.
terrifying.
I'm sticking
yeah,
with the statement.
there's actually a mod that lets you skip it because people were so sick of getting the shit scared out of them. It's one of the most genuinely scary kind of haunted house things that I've ever seen. They do it really, really well. And the weird thing is, like, it plays out differently depending on whether or not you're playing specific vampire broods and clans. If you play it as a fucking Malkavian, then shit goes to hell even worse.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, I got that game pretty much on release, which was a horrible idea. But
it's broken as fuck.
The unofficial patch, the fan patch, fixes it pretty well.
It
which I'm
does,
happy
yes.
with.
It's absolutely worth getting the unofficial patches for that. And I'd recommend to anybody playing that game. That game has got some fucking awesome innovations on it, some great storytelling. It's got multiple playthrough capabilities, certainly, because of just how different a lot of the clans are. You play a fucking Nosferatu in that game. It's it's a stealth game at that point. You can't show your face above ground most of the time because you're hideous.
You can only talk to key NPCs. No, but you can't talk to anybody else.
It's crazy.
The thing about it that was so interesting, and even just like combat playthrough versus social playthrough versus stealth playthrough, all very different experiences. And like the thing about that game, to its credit, the overarching story, awesome. The voice acting for like 90% of it, really good.
For the most part.
There's
not entirely, but mostly pretty
say.
good.
Yeah, but there's like big name voice actors in there who are like doing like kick-ass jobs, and but it's really fun. And I was gonna say the other part that scares me pretty bad is the sewers, but that's mostly just cheap jump scares anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Hollywood sewers is kind of a jump scary part, but like there was even a bit that I didn't know was in the game. When you walk up to one of the doors in the hotel and you turn around, there's a guy behind you, and I was like, I'd never seen that before as long as I've been playing that game. So that was kind of a surprise.
It's kind of like the original Deus Ex in the way that you always find something new every time.
Oh yeah,
and it's got some really cool ideas. I used to love sitting in. You could sit in your own shitty apartment listening to the radio, and they recorded probably upwards of an hour of weird talk radio shit, and they'd also play music from the soundtrack. They actually had some pretty cool stuff in there. They had some licensed music. And it was almost like listening to the stuff from GTA in the sense of how funny it would be.
Yeah.
It was really great.
Well, the what do you call it? If you're a Malkavian, sometimes you'll get a commercial on the TV or on the radio that talks to you.
Yes.
And you won't realize it's happening until you listen. And you're like, it's like, hey, you standing in the kitchen right now, and you're like, wait a minute, what?
Fuck?
And you realize that they're talking directly to you. But yeah, it's really fun, and there's all sorts of little Easter eggs hidden. Like when you find out that one of the bosses is calling into the radio show, but you don't figure that out until way later.
Yeah, it's way later.
It's crazy. I love that game a lot. It holds a very special place in my heart as a big White Wolf fan. But
if I recall correctly, like as a Malkavian, you can have an argument with a stop sign. If you
walk up to the stop sign,
and have an argument with it, yeah,
it'll do the trigger, and you'll start talking to it, which is fun. You can also talk to some of the museum displays. I think.
Yeah.
There's
so
a lot
fucking nuts.
Oh yeah. It's $5 on Steam. If you want a good adventure game that's pretty good, I recommend it.
Yeah.
So.
Get the unofficial patch though, because that thing is broken as fuck.
One of my favorite
when it first
bugs.
came out. Oh dear.
Yeah, one of my favorite bugs, and this is because when I got it, I was like, oh boy, I'm so excited because I love the tabletop game and the pen and paper game, so I was really pumped. And like the first thing that happens is a door busts open and a guy comes in and throws a stake at a vampire, and he didn't animate, much like I am in this webcam right now, but he busts the door open. He busts the door open, and he's in the stake throwing pose, but he doesn't move. He just slides in, and the stake leaves his hand and goes into the chest where it's supposed to go. I'm like, oh, I'm in for a wild ride. Like, here we go. This is my first experience with this game. So, yeah, it's super busted. But, yeah.
But
a good
it's
game.
great. It's really,
it's super
really
fun.
good.
Super, super fun.
Bringing up on that particular genre, the big mega mod for Deus Ex Gold Revision finally released this week.
Oh, did it really? The original Deus Ex?
It is out. Yep, the original Deus Ex. It is out and available to play now. They've been working on this for years. I did install it. I'm having some like performance problems with it in a big way. Like, you know, obviously it's Deus Ex. It's like over 10 years old.
Yeah.
You'd think it would run well, but I'm having some pretty like hard frame drops. I don't know if it's something that the mod added or something like that, but I'm not finding it that enjoyable to play as a result, because I'm like, you know, I look at one area, it's like, oh, this is running at like 300 FPS, then I turn around, it's like 35. What? Like, it's all over the place. So I don't know why exactly that's happening, but I need to figure that out. I might wait for them to like patch it and fix it before I play the whole thing, because my intention is to play the whole thing again. That will be my 8th time beating Deus Ex, because I want to see what they've done. Apparently they've reinterpreted a bunch of areas, they've changed some shit, and some people were whining about that. I'm like, guys, I mean, you've beaten the game multiple times. It's good that they've changed some things around. You know, I want to see what new areas and what changes on the existing areas they've got going. I don't want just a graphics
Fantasy
update.
7 in a few years.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to be
Maybe
for
that guy.
revision? Is it only visual changes, or did they do gameplay changes?
Oh, they've put gameplay changes in it.
Yeah,
They integrated the
a
most
lot of-
popular mods, so you can run like Shifter and stuff like that. You
Cool.
can. There are new areas. I think there's some new quests and shit like that. I mean, it's a huge mod. They've redone everything.
I mean, because some of the skills in Deus Ex are kind of useless. Like swimming has no purpose outside of Hong Kong.
You
It's just
remember
said it at the
Yahtzee's
same time.
wonderful song about that?
What is it?
Oh my god. So he did a song about Deus Ex,
Right.
and he was and part of it is about how shitty the skill system is, and he sung it along to the Deus Ex theme. So it's got,
Sure.
will we take rifles or computers? Don't take swimming because it's useless.
Yeah.
And it's all bullshit like that. And it is swimming and fucking bio protection or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Some
my
of the
God.
odds are just garbage.
It's pointless. I'm
Like
pretty sure the Shifter mod did actually change some of that around and made it a little bit more just balanced and competitive.
Yeah, like what is it? Synthetic Heart is pretty useless. The lifting strength one is pretty useless too.
There are a couple
parts
of
where it's
hidden
okay.
areas you can get into as a result of having that. I did do a
Yeah.
playthrough with like, I was like, hey, let's pick all the useless shit and let's see if there's actually areas that I can get into if I have this. And the answer is actually yes, there are, but they're nowhere near enough to justify actually
justify
taking
it,
them in the
yeah.
first place. Yeah,
Yeah.
that game
there's-
is so fucking good.
I love that game so much. Although the unfortunate sequel was not quite as good.
What, Human Revolution?
No, Invisible
No.
War.
Invisible War.
I've never heard of Invisible War.
Oh,
Yeah, you
good.
have.
Keep it that way.
I've never heard of Invisible War. That's it's weird that you should say that there's a sequel to Deus Ex, because I'm pretty sure there never was.
I see what he's doing.
And you know, it was just a
used the whole
prequel
time.
with Human Revolution.
Mhm,
Simple as
right.
that.
Right.
I mean, who the fuck would make a sequel to Deus Ex? What a fucking
Yeah.
stupid idea.
I mean, why would you do that?
I mean, there's no reason. You know?
Yeah, it ended perfectly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
absolute
Deus Ex
nonsense.
had a perfect transition into Human Revolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm excited for the new Human Revolution.
Oh
game.
my
Or
God.
Mankind
what's it called?
Divided.
Mankind Divided?
Yes.
Mankind
Yeah.
Divided. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully well.
I
They
Man, I'm
rescinded the fucking pre-order scheme, so rejoice on that one. Their stupid augment your pre-order bullshit.
Here's the thing. I ain't gonna lie. I did it. Fuck me for doing it.
Fuck
I did
you.
It. I augmented
You
it.
pre-ordered?
I augmented it.
You're
Yeah.
feeding the beast, Jesse.
It's okay, they pulled it back
I
now.
did it.
Jesse didn't do any damage, it's alright.
Now I get everything, so I don't even fucking care.
Look, you were
and
getting everything anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna pre-order Dishonored too. Look, if it's a game that I love, it don't even fucking matter. I'm pre-ordering. I don't even fucking care. I don't fucking care. Dishonored comes out, I'm getting the new one. Fuck it. That's just happening. I already pre-ordered StarCraft. Fuck me for doing that. I just did it. Doesn't matter. I don't care. It's the new games I won't pre-order because I don't know what to expect.
I saw a thing
know
on
what bullshit I'm getting.
Yes, Dodger.
I have an update about my mug.
Okay.
Oh my God.
No, I want to hear this. I
So-
want to hear this.
So,
Right.
in
so.
the official data book by Togashi,
Right.
the way they spell his name is like this. That's the original like attempt at a translation of Hisoka's name. Was Hiskoa. So that's how it's
Okay,
spelled on
good.
this
I'm
mug.
glad we cleared that up. Mhm.
We cleared it up.
It was really important for us to know that.
Yes.
I mean, it was important for me, and I know there was at least ones of people in the chat who cared. So
Bug update.
Yes, you can definitely tell who cared because they immediately were like, I have a mug emote, Dodger. I love you.
yeah,
You
I do have a
it,
mug
chat.
emote. You should probably subscribe to me on twitch.tv/dexterity bonus so that you can also have my mug emote for moments like these.
I have the only fun emote I have is a spaghetti emote. It's the only one I got.
Oh,
Tail.
for papyrus.
Pyrus, yeah. But yeah, the whole augment your pre-order was not feeling it.
Yeah. Vomit worthy. A few days ago on Twitter, I saw there was a hashtag to pre-order a fucking song.
What?
Yeah, it was like Justin Bieber's new song. You can
No,
pre-order it. People are like, you
stop.
should pre-order it. Why? For
Why?
what? You actually didn't get any benefit. Like, there was no discount. There was no, like, hey, you get a bonus thing. You just, like, no, buy this song before it comes out. No! There's no reason to ever do that.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's like, damn, iTunes is going to run out of copies of Justin Bieber's new fucking MP3. I don't think so. God
Well-
damn nonsense.
If we're lucky.
Fair.
Okay.
People
would
are
run
gonna
out of
pre-order it anyway. People are gonna buy that song before
Now,
it comes out. It's gonna happen.
We don't want that. You know, it's
We don't want it, but that's the world we're in.
pre-ordering a
Where
song.
we live.
Are you fucking for real?
Yeah,
There's
pre-ordering
no
is-
function whatsoever.
Well, I mean, it makes Justin Bieber's wiener a little harder.
Probably.
It does.
Other than that.
A lot of it, you know what kind of bothers me as well is that, and this bothered me about augmenting your pre-order, is that these companies have become kind of masters of manipulating fandom to the point where pre-ordering something like this is seen as like a fan badge of honor. And like, you're not a real fan if you don't do it. And people get into arguments over this shit. And it's unbelievable that they've managed to figure out how dumb fandoms are and figured out the best way to exploit them.
Well, they went to Tumblr once,
Yeah.
and so they were like, "Oh shit, this is easy."
Yeah, it's...
Figured it out.
So wait, they're saying that you're not a real fan if you don't pre-order?
Well, that's the general. They've never
That's kind of how
outright said
people
that,
Wind
but
up feeling
yeah,
through the marketing.
yeah, because they've designed it in such a way that the
I
Deus
see.
Ex thing was a prime example of that because you needed more people to pre-order in order to unlock the higher tier rewards that fans would like. So they were literally recruiting people as fucking press gangers through peer pressure to force their friends to pre-order so they could get additional stuff in game, which to me is disgusting. Just
That's-
awful.
I don't like that at all.
Oh.
I don't like that one bit.
I noticed
yeah, that doesn't make me feel good.
No, there was a flare-up around the new Tales game that's on Steam as well. Tales of Zestiria or whatever it is.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I noticed on forums and things like that, because they also had a tiered reward system. And at the maximum tier, you get a free copy of Tales of Symphonia, which is probably a much
Oh.
better game than Zestiria anyway, but whatever. And as a result, what I noticed on social media and on forums and things like that is that people got super fucking defensive of the game. So some people were turning around and saying, God damn it, this game runs at 30 FPS and it's like an action RPG. It would be much, much better if it ran higher than that. Especially if I recall correctly, like some of the older Tales games did run at 60. And then people were going off on them, like in a huge way, like really aggressively. And I assume it was because they want their free shit. So they're astroturfing on behalf of the company because they want their free shit. And they're basically being bribed into doing it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
What?
Pretty awful.
Shit. What is the name of that game that came out? I'm trying to look this up, and I don't know the name of it. But it's a game where the more people who there are only so many copies of the game, and then
You talking about the Flock? Because that's not true.
No, this is a game that it's on Steam, and there's still plenty. It's
Tetris.
No. It wasn't how many
Pac-Man.
copies of the game it was. It was how many lives.
Greed
When you bought
Island.
the game,
The Flock.
when you
It's the Flock.
Okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that never turned out to be a success, did it?
Well, no,
the
because
premise-
it was a shitty game.
All right,
It's a game with an
all right.
interesting idea that wasn't executed in a way where people were like, "Oh, yeah, good
Yeah.
execution
remember
of this
that-
idea."
And
I
getting
remember
people
the
to...
whole premise was the more people who play and the more deaths there are only so many tickets in the game, and then when they're all used up, then you can get access to the end of the game.
The end of the game?
And
Yeah.
only people who have purchased it
Yes.
before those tickets are used up, then it's gone. It's gone from Steam
Yep.
forever, and then you got the ending. And I always was like, that's a cool idea, but I don't know that it's an idea that I want to buy onto.
Yeah, good luck getting people to buy into that, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're buying a game that has a finite conclusion. I've always made the argument that, look, most games have planned obsolescence anyway, so this is not really all that different, but asking people to take part in that experiment, especially with such a shitty game backing it up, was never going to work, and it didn't.
I mean, in order to back up a game with a gimmick like that, the game would have to be really good.
Yeah, and
if
it's
you
not.
have yeah, I know. It's so if you have this game that's really great and you're like, oh yeah, then we want to add this gimmick, I'd be like, okay, fine, but you can't focus on a gimmick like that and have that be the selling point. That's silly.
Well,
ridiculous.
especially since everybody was reporting on this game in a different way too, so it wasn't super super what the experiment was or what the
Yeah.
limitations of the experiment were. So everybody was like, "Oh, there's only so many copies of the game," and then it turned into, "No, there's a bunch of copies of the game, but you only get to play it once. Once you die, you're out of the game." And then
Yeah, I
people were
heard a
like,
weird
"No,
bunch of stuff like that. That's
it's
not
not
even
that-
true, yeah.
Yeah, you get to stay in the game for as long as you want. Wait, but then how does the game ever end? Because it has a finite amount of time." And it's it's never been clear what the experiment is. And I think that was a big handicap for them too.
Yeah. I mean, it
The
ultimately
interesting
just
thing
didn't
is
matter.
that as of September 21st, there's 215 million copies left.
Lives.
Lives. And so, they're basically it would take 400 years at the rate it's going for people to don't worry, it'll still be around. So I'm gonna assume failed experiment, but interesting. I like when companies I
Current
know
players,
that
0. 1 hour, a
Yikes.
24-hour peak, 1. Yeah, that game is deader than dead.
I think I like when companies and video game makers try to do crazy creative stuff. Like the guys who are doing and Dodger might know this because I think you probably played this at PAX. The Robot Loves Kitty devs who made Legend of Dungeon are doing a game that's designed to be streamed and players can play it. It's free. Players can play, but you only get one life, and then they just block your IP after you die.
Right.
And
Shoot, what is
the
that
people,
game?
The people
What's the name
watching
of
are the
that
ones
game?
who have all the power that they
Yeah.
can send you things like in Hunger Games, where they can make monsters appear that you have to fight and totally fuck you. And so it's I love creative stuff like that. I have no idea how that earns anyone any money, but I
It
think it's
doesn't.
it's super cool. But yeah, it's one of those things that I love. I think the Flock, the premise is cool. Clearly they failed to execute. I'm reading the reviews. People are like, it's not the premise. The game's just shit. So
Yeah,
Oh, man.
it's a bad game. The interesting thing about any game that really integrates streaming in a big way is that it probably isn't going to sell very well. In the case of the one you were talking about, it looks like it's going to be free, so that makes sense. But
Yeah.
all the major streamers are going to blow through their life on the first day, and then it's going to have no stream presence anymore because the people that people actually watch are not going to be able to play it anymore. And I think it was the case with they designed the new Jackbox game Quiplash. They kind of designed that with a streaming feature on it, and it's barely sold. Because if you don't play it with an audience, it's not as fun, and most people don't have an audience to play it with.
Mhm.
So therein
They
lies the
made
problem.
in the new Jackbox Party Pack, by the way,
Yeah.
They have kind of like a simplified version of Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes that you play
Yes,
with your
they
phone.
do. Yeah.
And it's pretty fun. I only played a little bit of it, but
Yeah, I do need to try that out because apparently the Bidiots, I think is the name of the game, where you have to bid on art that the
game
other
is
people make.
so
is apparently
complicated.
really great.
Oh, I thought out of all of the games, I was like, this game does not explain itself very well at all.
I haven't tried it yet. All I know is that I heard about that and I was like, I've got to try it. I know they have Fibbage 2 on there, which is obviously a good thing, but yeah, I need to look at those.
Man, Keep Talking Nobody Explodes was super fun though. I
Yes.
really
So
enjoyed that
fun.
game. That game ruled.
Yeah, it's
Idiots.
really, really nice sort of party game. I wonder how successful it is, because according to Steam Spy, that game has been trending ever since it came out at like #1. Like it is hugely popular in terms of trending, and because they have started to track things like the number of Twitch views that the game gets and the number of
Interesting.
YouTube views that the game gets, and it's fucking high. I mean, it's crazy high. A lot of people watching it, but I have to wonder like how many people are buying it. According to Steam Spy, they've sold like 70,000 units so far. That's pretty fucking good for a game like that. The cool thing about that game is that they realize exactly the problem with PC, which is PC doesn't really do well on the party games kind of front. Obviously, because at the moment most people have their PCs in their offices or whatever, and getting a bunch of people around in your office to play shit is not a good idea. But the Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes guys managed to figure it out in such a way that you don't have to be even in the same room as the guy doing the defusal. So you could be on Skype, you can be on Vent, you can be on TeamSpeak, or whatever, and it's totally fine.
It's really smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Works really well. I mean, the first gameplay video that I saw of it was Northern Lion, and he was doing it over VoIP. And everybody just had the manual on their screen, and they were just reading it from there.
Yeah.
It's a great game. Like, I love the asymmetry in that, and the social element to it. Hopefully we'll see more games like that. But, again, it's very difficult to make those succeed on PC. That game's not on console, is it?
I
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it's entirely PC so far.
Yeah. I think, yeah, which is weird. I mean, you'd think that they would put that on a console immediately, but maybe we'll see more party games come out. You know, if Steam Link actually takes off and these games can be on your television in your living room or whatever, then there's really no reason not to put them on there. But I'm seeing all sorts, pretty much every game on Steam that is local co-op only does fucking terribly. Yeah? It does really bad. Like Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. Hugely well rated. According to Steam Spy, it only has about 13,000 owners, and it's been out for a month. It's a failure on Steam. It's probably done a shitload better on consoles. And that's kind of a shame.
Isn't it on PS4?
I think it's on Xbox One.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty sure it's on Xbox. But
Sam and I really want to play that together.
It's great.
Because I've heard nothing but good things about that game.
It's awesome. It's really, really good. But if you don't have an online multiplayer mode and you release your game on PC like that, you're probably not going to do very well. That's the reality of it.
Towerfall.
Towerfall. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well,
I wish. God. Oh, the day that they're like, yo, there's online multiplayer in Towerfall now. I'm just going to be like, it's all come together. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. But it might never happen.
Yeah, Towerfall's a weird one because obviously it's been out for quite some time, and it does have a decent number of users on Steam, but it's been bundled multiple times, if I recall correctly, so that fucks up the numbers completely.
Yeah.
Now, according to Steam Spy, it's had 10,000 players in the last 2 weeks, which is actually really, really good, but I wonder what Steam Charts says right now about the current players for Towerfall. Yeah, 66, you know. So...
Better than the flock.
Better than the flock.
Hey.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
It's like your baseline. Can you do better than one player in the last 24 hours?
More than one player right now?
Yeah.
Killing it.
Doing well.
There's something that people let me know about over the past few weeks, and someone in chat is talking about it as well, is that there's Nvidia, with their streaming, are working on making local multiplayer games playable online, and allowing you to, basically by streaming the screen and by taking signals from your controller and relaying it to the host computer. So in theory, you could play a local multiplayer game online, which I thought is pretty fucking great.
That would be a pretty amazing switch up if
Would be
they were
cool.
able to do that.
Yeah, if
I'd
they could
love
do
to
that.
Play, like Samurai Gun online. I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah.
Game, but that's local multiplayer only too.
Yeah,
so.
it is. But yeah, I know that the Towerfall devs were very against it, and they're like basically saying, well, that's not how the game is supposed to be played. I'm like,
Well-
fuck what you think. I mean, it's honestly ridiculous that you would ever make a comment like that, because it's like, wouldn't you want people to be playing as much as possible in as many ways?
That's like a whole customer is always right situation. It's like people want to pay.
We want to
for
play
this.
online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like we want to give you money to do this, and they're like, no, that's not how we meant it. But it's like,
I don't give a fuck if
Okay.
that's how you meant it. You know, as soon as you release this fucking thing into the wild, then you have to realize that at that point, you've lost control of it. And maybe, you know, Towerfall, I know Towerfall's done really well on consoles, but looking at the PC numbers, like, look, you got your ass handed to you by Duck Game that's been out for a year less, you know, and they have more players than you, and
it's the same style.
It's
thing,
exactly
kind
the
of thing.
same style. And they
Yeah.
put it online, and nobody complained. It's like, oh no, my vision as to how I should play this game is shattered now. It's like, no, I get to play online. It's fucking awesome. You kidding me?
Yeah,
Because I have that option.
I don't know. I mean, it's not having online play is just a real sour note for a lot of games for me personally, because you know a lot of my friends that I play games with are, you know, we play online all the time,
course.
and so it's like I would love to play Towerfall or something else with you, but alas,
But I
here
can't.
we have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it when you're dealing with a dev that doesn't have a lot of money. So
Yeah.
they really don't have the option to put multiplayer in, or they're just too inexperienced. But when a game does really well, like Towerfall, there's really no excuse. You know, it's just stubborn bullshit from the dev. You know, and a degree of arrogance, I think, from him as well. It's like a bunch of people asked for this, and you're telling me that's not my artistic vision. Well, fuck your artistic vision, frankly.
I still really like that game.
Well, it's a great
It's a
game.
good-
That's
it's
what
a good
makes.
game.
If it was a bad game, nobody would care and get angry about this. You know?
Yeah.
It's because it's a good game. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. We've got about 10 minutes for the break. What else have we played?
Let me take a smigadoop gander at my
Playing through
library.
Undertale again.
Smigadoop. Let me take a smigadoop.
Let me take a little smigadoop here really quick.
Let me take
In
a
the
smigadoop.
meantime, as you're smigadooping, I guess I'll talk about another thing that I've played, and this one is on iOS, and it's called Battle Decks, which is a Codemasters game, and it is a Codemasters kind of CCG.
I gotta look this up. Battle decks.
It is a CCG, and it's based in kind of near-future sort of military weirdness. You know, there's 6 different factions that all do kind of different things. You build the deck, and you fight in the way that you expect. But it's all done on a grid. So instead of just playing a card, you play a card, and the unit appears on the grid, and then you can move the unit around and attack with it. And the way that you do that is by spending energy to do it. So energy is spent to not only play cards, but also to move and act with cards that are on the field already. And the whole point is to destroy your opponent's base, which has 30 life. You have a 30-card deck.
Uh-huh.
It has an arena mode that is a carbon copy of Hearthstone. But
Wow.
the actual game is pretty good, surprisingly enough.
Did you say this is on your phone? On
iOS,
or-
yeah. It's on iOS. I don't know if it's available on the phone, but it's certainly on the iPad. And so far, I played a bunch of it while I was over on the West Coast, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. There's a lot of strategy involved in it. The deck building element seems pretty in-depth. The business model actually might be better than Hearthstone's. You can buy packs just like you can in Hearthstone, but your first set of packs is like half price, and there's 2 other ways to get free packs. You either earn in-game currency, which you just spend on packs, or you can get what's called intel pieces, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Every time you fill out the jigsaw puzzle, you get a free pack. And you get that from like achievements and daily login rewards and things like that.
Interesting.
So it seems kind of generous, actually.
This?
That's the one. Yep. Yeah, and it's pretty fun. I enjoyed it quite a little bit. Although I did discover that I was mostly being put up against bots. The game tries to hide it. When I went to matchmaking, I was like, oh, I'm kicking these guys' asses. Like, fuck you, Jeremy and Lisa. And then I was like, oh, hang on a minute. They're acting awfully fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
they
it's
were
because
bots.
there just aren't enough people playing the game yet?
Yeah, that's actually the main problem. I tried to play arena mode because I'm like, yeah, fucking arena mode, absolutely. And there's just I couldn't get anybody. No, not enough people are playing it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I hate when they put you up against bots and try and pretend like
Pretend
you're
they're
doing
not.
really well.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
They did that. They did that in Final Fantasy 14 for the Chocobo races, and I was like, God, I'm kicking ass. And then it's like, I talked to my friends, and they're like, Oh, you know those are all bots, right? I was like, Oh man,
Aw,
thought I was doing
dang it.
super well.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Ugh.
I've been playing WildStar since it went free to play. It's okay.
That's right. You have been playing a lot of WildStar.
I have. That's true.
Is that better?
It's all right. I mean, it's an MMO. I'm so like I'm kind of on my MMO like.
That's so diplomatic of you. It's all right.
yeah.
It's an MMO.
It's an MMO. I mean, what can you really say? I mean, it's cool. I like the art direction in some places. In other places, it's really jarring. But it's all right. I love the Chua. I think that's one of the coolest MMO races ever of all time.
I love those guys.
Those guys are rad. They're super cool. But I mean, I don't know. After playing WoW and 14 for so long, I'm just like, I don't need to play another MMO at this point. Yeah. But yeah, it looks nice. It's a pretty game. You know, I mean, what can you say? It's the class. There's so few classes though. Like there's I think 5 or 6. There's not a whole lot of variety. The one thing that's neat is all the classes have like a sub spec that they can do. So every class can DPS basically, which is cool. But I don't know. I just got to give a shot because everybody's like, hey, we're playing WildStar now. I was like, I don't want to buy that. They're like, oh, it's free.
Hey.
I'm like, okay, cool.
Hey, we're playing WildStar now. Hey.
Hey, get on WeirdStar. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
sure, whatever.
Yo, dog,
Sorry.
you into WeirdStar?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't grab me the same way that Final Fantasy 14 did. So I'm just kind of.
Oh, I need to go back and finish Heaven's Ward, man.
I'll transfer it to Genova and we can play.
Yeah, you want to play together?
Yeah, except I feel bad because I'll lose like the millions of guild that I put into my room.
Oh.
So I'm gonna be kind of bummed about that
I
one.
don't want you to transfer over and then be like, I've made a horrible mistake.
No, I
would feel so bad.
No, it's fine. It's whatever. I'll hop over. I mean, since I'm not really raiding anymore, because I did raiding in Realm Reborn, but I kind of stopped. I'll hop over and finish because I haven't even leveled. I'm not even 60. But
Yeah.
it's whatever. Anybody else playing anything?
I don't think I've really played anything else.
Yeah, just bits and pieces. Playing a bit more Secret Ponchos. That's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's really fun, actually.
I don't know. I'm practicing my speedrun for God Hand, but that doesn't count because that's a 9-year-old game.
It absolutely counts. God Hand counts in every scenario. Oh,
Yeah.
so, I'm going to emasculate Cry live on stage. It's going to be great. So we were talking a little bit about Platinum games, and we are talking about Transformers and the fact that I'd just beaten the Transformers game. And Cry's like, yeah, I never really got into it. I'm like, oh, well, did you play Platinum games?
Exactly what this story is.
It's like, oh, you play Platinum games? Like, no, not really, but I did play Clover games. Oh, so you play like Akami and God Hand? It's like, yeah, I played those. And I was like, yeah, God Hand was super hard. I'm like, yeah, I know. I got stuck on. I was like, okay, where do you get stuck at? And it's like, oh, I couldn't beat the two sort of effeminate kind of flaming
Mr. Gold and Mr. Silver,
boss
literally the
characters.
first mini boss.
Yeah, and I'm like, hang on a minute. That's the first boss. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you couldn't beat the first boss? Do you realize how much harder everything else is?
Yeah.
That was so... I loved coming back to the chat and reading that conversation later. Just like, yeah, man, God Hand was super hard. I couldn't get past those two guys who were like the very first boss.
They're not even. They're the first mini boss. You can literally, if you get Dragon Kick, you can literally beat him in 15 seconds. That's about how fast I do it. You can beat him in. Yeah, you can beat him in like 15 seconds. Because
you apparently play way better than I did. I beat that game, and that's still like a nice little trophy on my fucking shelf because a lot of people don't beat it. But that's insane. You probably play on level death.
Well, if you speedrun it normally, you play on easy, but you want to do it fast. So everything you want to do as fast as possible.
Oh, okay.
So I can beat the whole game in like an hour and 18 minutes. I think that's about my best time. But
you're missing out on the hours of video poker that you could play in the fucking casino, though.
Oh yeah. You can
best.
save scum Chihuahua races to just win
Yes,
crazy
indeed.
amounts of money. But
it's wonderful that game has Chihuahua races.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The
and many
actually
other things.
I have a little Chihuahua thing on my keys because it looks like the little cartoon heads for the Chihuahuas from God Hand. But yeah, it's yeah, that's my speedrun game of choice. I actually want to enter it in SGDQ at some point in the coming year.
Shit.
So yeah, I really want to. But yeah, love Clover. Rest in peace, Clover.
Rip Clover.
Rip Clover. Actually, do I have it? Hang on here. I have a sticker that I made that's got Hideki Kamiya's face and it says genius on it. I just haven't figured out anything that I want to put it on yet.
Oh, wait,
Yeah, I
you
know.
like got the sticker custom made with no plans for it? Just
Well,
to, like,
I-
own
Go,
the sticker?
go find out whichever
wanted what
show
he
Luke
wanted.
Plunkett is in and go stick it on his face and then slap him. That's all you need to do.
I love I found it on Redbubble and it was just like a stenciled image of Kamiya's face and then it just says genius in big letters under it and I was like, I'm just gonna buy this because it's like 90 cents or whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
Clover.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little
do it.
bit about the news and all sorts of things that are going on. You're watching the Co-Optional Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast. Don't worry, Jesse. I anticipated that and muted you beforehand. It's all good.
Excellent.
Did it.
Done the show for long enough to know about your nonsense. Most of it. Not all of it. I'm expecting new nonsense every week. You know what's disappointing is we usually don't get it, because he doesn't care. He just phones it in every fucking week.
Phoning in that nonsense.
Pretty much.
We need the real shit.
I was
We
going to
need
say,
the
you know,
real
why do you think
nonsense.
we bring you on the show in the first place, honestly?
Sorry, we were having an in-depth Star Wars discussion. And
Oh, don't want to hear it. Don't want to know. I haven't watched the trailer. I have no intention of watching the trailer. I'm just going to watch the film when it comes out.
All I'm saying is that the new books that are coming out are like giving you so many juicy tidbits. You're like, you motherfuckers, I just want to know. I just want to know.
I have to know all of it.
I just want to know. Yeah.
Are these like, wait, but weren't there, never mind.
Yes, princess.
Never mind.
Look, ask it now. Ask it now.
Weren't there books of this already and they've been retconned, so they're just like rewriting?
No, the books are gone. The old books
Yeah,
are...
the expanded universe is out of here.
Yeah, the
Right.
expanded universe is now called like
But there
Star
were-
Wars Tales or some bullshit like that. So they're not even related at all anymore.
Yeah. Like the whole stuff with like Jackson and Jaina and all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Mara
all-
Jade, that's
All
out.
the
Yeah,
good shit.
None,
that's
none of
out.
that
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah.
So now
Okay.
there's new books, and so there's like everything that was written after Disney bought Star Wars is now canon, and
Okay.
everything else is BS. So
which means that Tales of the Bounty Hunter and Tales from Jabba's Palace are not canon, which sucks because those are awesome books.
those are amazing. Yeah. There's the new books, like there's one that is about Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine that's pretty cool. There's one about Tarkin that's I haven't read it yet, but I hear it's okay. Star Wars Aftermath is, I think, written horribly, but it gives you some like really cool tidbits and all the things they're giving you now.
Tidbits?
Yes, tidbits. The comics, a new comic that's coming out explains like what they're doing is in the comics, they're giving each character their own comic that basically is like what's happened since Return of the Jedi for this character, which is pretty dope. So you get to find out like why C-3PO has a red arm, which is going to be pretty cool. So yeah, I'm very excited. And then in all these things they drop little tidbits about like what the overarching story for the new movies are, which is great and infuriating at the same time because it leads to such ridiculous theory crafting. Ridiculous theory crafting. But I have my theory and I've stuck with it and I'll continue to stick with it. I firmly believe this. The overarch of the three movies, Stormtrooper becomes Jedi, X-Wing pilot becomes Sith. Convinced of this. And they have to fight each other in the end. Convinced of it.
I remember
Convinced of
you throwing this idea out a while
It's been
back.
like a year since I had this idea. I'm convinced of it.
Mhm.
But that is
Stick to
all I
his
will
guns.
say. Move on. We'll move on.
Indeed. Let's talk about the news, shall we?
Truly. Yes.
Do that.
The news. There's not a great deal going on at the moment, but Konami's being quite silly. I don't
Yes,
even know
they
what
are.
to think at this point. So, we had initially a report that Hideo Kojima had left Konami. which makes sense considering the circumstances. Now Konami is denying this. He's claiming that he's on vacation. So this was originally published in the New Yorker, saying that he'd left the company earlier this month. And then there was an update to it saying that the author of the New Yorker piece tweeted a photo of what he maintains is the farewell party for them. But at the moment, Konami's saying Kojima is listed as a company employee, and Kojima and the development team have finished developing Metal Gear Solid 5 and are taking a long time off from work.
I'm so...
I
We're
mean,
trapped. We're trapped in this horrible Konami Kojima loop, and I don't
this
know how to get
awful
out.
Cycle. Somebody break
I don't
the
know how
time
to
loop.
get out.
I don't look. You're wrong. I fucking love it. I think
Oh
it
my
is
God.
hilarious. Like it is. It's. I don't know if it's like. All right, we have some Japan nerds here. Is this like a cultural thing? Like they like to just be like, no, that's not at all. Like everything that you've read and seen, nope.
I think it's very much cultural to kind of save face in whatever way possible.
Yeah, they kind of do a deny everything stance where it's like, yeah, they're really trying to save face because I think a lot of people know that Konami proper is in the wrong here and they're just kind of being crazy. But yeah, it's a very strange thing, especially because then when they said, oh no, they tweeted, or he has the picture of the going away party, they said it was a going on vacation party or something like that. And it was like, oh yeah, that totally normal thing that everyone has. Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. A huge going on vacation party. I always have those.
Yeah.
Natural.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
I don't understand. But I love them.
I don't even know at this point.
Yeah.
You know what blows my mind is every time somebody asks Guillermo del Toro about Silent Hills, he's like, I don't know what fucking happened. Like, not even Guillermo gets it. He's just like, I don't know.
He's like, that's
Like,
the
that game
stupidest
was
shit
going to
I
be
ever heard.
awesome. Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea why they canceled it. And I'm just like, oh, God.
Well, you've always got to watch out as well for the Japanese stuff because mistranslations have caused all manner of problems over the past, like, 20 years in gaming, where people 100%. Consistently figure things out and then realize, oh, actually, I just mistranslated that, so it's not true at all. And that's been happening up until very recently, and still is. So it's hard to know exactly what is going on over there, other than it's just the latest turn in the insane drama that is Konami and Kojima right now.
Right. I guess it's a possibility that, like, Kojima Productions as a whole is all leaving, and so they're, like, taking time off before they come back and, like, start up their own separate thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
CEO Kazurai on Twitter says, in a statement, Konami says that Kojima said he was just going to the store to buy a pack of cigarettes.
I'll be back later. Yeah. I love that parody account. It's great.
Oh, so I've been following CEO Kazurai forever. I love that one. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Like all the hype around Silent Hills and everything was just like insane. There were so many people were so excited for that. And like it had a major SWAT Cats syndrome, which is what I call that, which is when something's really hyped up and everybody loves it and then it gets canceled. Yeah. Because that's what happened to SWAT Cats.
SWAT Cats.
Yeah. Did you know?
They flew a jet.
Do you know the joke theory? Sorry to go on a bit of a tangent, but do you know the theory about SWAT Cats? The joke theory about this? No. So for those that don't know, SWAT Cats was top-rated cartoon on Cartoon Network.
Great show.
It was an awesome show. Top rated in its time slot for animated program. And then it got canceled. Nobody knows why. People think that Ted Turner saw it, who was president of Time Warner of that at the time. And saw it, realized he was a furry, and then got so freaked out that he had to cancel the show to completely remove himself from everything.
That's quite the theory.
Yeah, that's the theory.
The weirdest fucking theory I've ever heard.
I very much doubt that is the case.
God, I hope though. I hope that Ted Turner is just a closet furry more than anything.
That cartoon was great. It had the right
awesome.
amount of violence and everything.
It
was the perfect young, like preteen cartoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful.
Anyway, Konami and Kojima, who knows at this point?
You realize they're kickstarting to try and make a new series of SWAT cats, by the way?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What?
Awesome, the Radical Squadron.
Yep.
That was the
Cat.
tagline. SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron.
SWAT Cats Revolution is currently being funded by the looks of it.
I don't
I
like
mean-
the name of that.
How much more 90s can you get when your main character's named T-Bone and Razor? Like, let's be honest with ourselves.
Guys,
Yeah.
But
Junji Ito is gonna help with Silent Hills.
I know! I love Junji Ito.
Me too! It
Man.
would have been incredible! Junji Ito and Guillermo del Toro and...
Oh, God. Reading Junji Ito's mangas gives me such, like, a
I
gut visceral reaction of, like, disgust.
here's the problem. Everyone's like, yeah, that would have been so much fun, such a great game. We all know that had that game existed, if it was anything like even that little fucking PT bit where it's like you are just staring at a baby in a sink that's like, Daddy was a loser.
That
I-
baby is super Ito! It's
I
a
felt-
super Ito element.
By the time I was done with that, I physically felt ill. Like the entire time, I was like, something's wrong with this entire game. I don't feel right. Had a real game like that existed, I would have been like one of those stories you read, like, man, pukes up intestines, found dead in an apartment. Like,
Ah, Jesse!
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Like, I want it, and I was really like excited about Allison Road, even though they canceled that Kickstarter because I got bought, I guess. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, everyone just wants something really, really genuinely awesome and scary.
Yeah. Ugh, and disturbing.
Yeah, Ito's really good at like body horror stuff. So that
Oh,
game-
God. Uzumaki.
Really?
Oh. Ugh.
Yeah.
The mosquito story from Uzumaki, like, that makes me, like, sick. It makes me, like, sick
Yeah.
to my stomach.
Oh,
It's
the
so-
babies. The whole section with the pregnancy ward is the worst part of that book for me.
No. Can't do it.
Everybody
Can't
should
do
read
it.
Uzumaki. It's so good.
Yeah,
My
it's
favorite
real
horror
good.
manga.
Ugh, Uzumaki.
Anyways,
Anyway, so
that game would have been amazing, and it's never gonna happen. So
All right. Okay. Cool. Let's move on. So there's an article I want to talk about here that I got a few people's backs up as a result of its very provocative title, which was "The mobile games market is an absolute mess thanks to you." That's the title. That's a nice piece of clickbait right there. And then it goes on to talk about problems with releasing premium mobile games, problems with releasing anything that's not free to play, problems like getting core games on the platform and actually being successful about it. And he's talking about, this is the author of the game, incidentally, and he's speaking for the most part about the culture of iOS and the good old thing like you'll pay $6 for your fucking pumpkin spice latte, but you won't pay 99 cents for a game on iOS, or you'll buy an iOS device for like $850, but you'll balk at spending 99 cents, and all that kind of thing.
right.
And he talks a little bit about that and whose fault it is and how exactly to change the culture. And you know, his conclusion is we must change the culture together. I'm like, well, okay. The problem that I've got with some of his statements is things. He says many serious gamers complain about all the casual games coming out for mobile, but don't support the serious game developers that build the games they want. Remember when you would fork over $40 for Zelda or Pokemon games on Game Boy? Imagine the amazing games we could play on our phones if we paid developers enough to create them. Alright. Well, people are still buying for $60 now Zelda and Pokemon on handheld devices, and the handheld device is the 3DS, not a mobile phone. And can you name even one title on iOS right now that is equivalent quality to Zelda or Pokemon?
I don't
think you can.
the capability is there.
I mean, that
Really?
power-wise, sure, you can do on a new iPad what you can do on a 3DS, sure, but there's a huge problem with that. It's that the controls are fucking shit, and they're always going to be shit, and there's nothing you can do about that. And people don't want to play core games on mobile devices, on tablets, and on phones because the experience of controlling them is hell. It's awful. The reason why people play Pokemon and Zelda on a 3DS is because their bloody controls are set up to do that. If you don't have a controller, it's very hard to make real core titles. You're limited to a very small number of genres, like tactics games, or SRPGs, or turn-based strategy, or CCGs. You can't make action games on an iOS device and have a good controller experience.
There are controllers that hook up to mobile devices, though.
Yeah, they're bloody expensive. Have you seen that? Like an iOS, the proper iOS rated ones that eventually Apple decided to support are like $100 for a decent one.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and again,
Speaking of spending too much money on a controller.
Yeah, but especially in this scenario, right? Because there aren't enough games that would require a controller.
There's the chicken and the egg, isn't it? You know? So what we're saying is, oh, okay, well, if you want to do core games on this platform, you need proper controls. But the controls don't come built in. So as a result, you need people to buy in a large enough number controllers. The similar kind of situation that we were talking about the Steam controller earlier. But people are not going to do that because almost all of the controllers for fucking iOS are awful. Let me Google the SteelSeries Stratus and tell me that is not one of the most hideous fucking controllers you've ever seen in your life.
SteelSeries Stratus?
Stratus, yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a brick.
Oh, yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah, the list price for that is $80.
No.
$80 for that?
Yeah, that's the list price for the damn thing.
You can get it for $63 on eBay.
Yes, thank God for that. There's some, if we go to Afterpad apparently makes a bunch of stuff for it. The TT Esports Contour, which is the good old, here's a full-size controller and your phone is your screen and clipped on here and it's up here while you're playing. That exists.
This thing is tiny. This thing is absolutely tiny. It's like this big.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, a lot of them are designed so that you split them and you put them on one half and the other half of the screen. So it's kind of like a Vita. But again, you need the right controller. They're tiny. They give you hand cramps. They're not well designed. And most games don't support them properly anyway. So, how do you, at this point, how on earth do you revitalize the core game market on iPad when people have pretty much given up on iOS as a core gaming device? Because therein lies your problem. It was never suitable for it in the first place, so people are like, well, guess I'm not playing it on that.
I mean, the only game I really ever put a lot of time into on my phone was I bought Final Fantasy 1, the Soul of Chaos version for my phone and played that, and it was all right, but even then the controls sucked because it was so bad. Like for a JRPG, and that's nothing. That's like 4 buttons, and it was terrible.
I remember a game coming out for iOS a few years ago called Epoch, and it was supposed to solve the problems that third-person action games have on iOS with a unique and innovative control system. Yeah, and the unique and innovative control system basically turned it into a glorified QTE, because you have to simplify in order to make that work. There are games that work well. You can play CCGs just fine on a tablet. That's a core game genre. Yeah. You can play some tactics games. But again, you then run into the same problem of who buys the tactics games and will they buy them at the right price? And generally speaking, the answer is no, because the people that play long-form tactics games for hours on end don't want to play it on a fucking iPad. They'll play it on their PC. So what you're trying to do is convince people that are already happy with their PCs to move to iOS, which has huge numbers of issues. The way that the business model works on iOS for many games is bullshit. It's a matter of course to put microtransactions into games that cost money. Doesn't matter if it costs money or doesn't. They're going to put microtransactions in it anyway. And they're going to balance the game around those. Now, it seems to me like it's so far gone that I don't see how you could ever convince a serious core audience to come back to iOS as a gaming platform. And as a result, those games that you're making, those core games, ain't going to fucking sell.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the most successful fighting type games on iOS have all been sort of that weird fighting Tamagotchi style where it's like you just collect fighters and they fight all on their own. You don't have to do anything. You just put together a team and watch them battle.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've played some fighting games on that, fighting games. Like, there's the WWE Immortals game, and that's by NetherRealm, and they also brought Mortal Kombat 10 over.
Right, you were talking about that.
Yeah, and it's not even close to being a fighting game. Like, it literally is a case of tap, tap, tap to attack, or hold an attack, and then if you get a special, use the special at the right time, and you can use 2 fingers to block, and that's it. It's so basic.
Well, yeah, there was one that Sam got super into that was literally, it was all about collecting fighters. And when they went into battle, they did everything, but you chose when they used their special. That was literally all you had to do.
Yeah,
you
that's all
just
you did.
sat there and watched them fight. And then you'd be like, oh, this person with a healing ability has their special. Boop. Cool, everybody's at full health. I was like, man, this is the most low impact fighting game I've ever seen in my life.
That's
Yeah. If I look at the stuff that I download for iOS, I specifically avoid core experiences. Because in the vast majority of circumstances, the core experience doesn't work on that device. And I'm actually looking for games that I can quickly jump in and out of.
Well,
you know,
what
and they're fairly casual.
Yeah, I don't. Like, what's
Yes.
the? I don't know. I've always felt that. Like, I didn't ever expect anyone to want core, like, big games on a phone. Like, that's never been like the issue. People have never said like, this is what I always assumed phones were for casual gameplay and or quick in and out experiences, and that was it. And so that's what people made. I never thought that it would ever be an issue like, well, I need a game that I can play for a long time on my phone. Like, I never thought that would be
How to nuclear
something
battery 101. You know, one of the
Yeah, I
main
didn't-
reasons you don't do that is because you need your phone to, do everything else. You don't want to
Yeah.
burn it on a game and then not be able to use it for the rest of the day.
exactly.
Yeah, it's very, I don't know. It's interesting to hear the idea of like, yeah, we're gonna make the Pokemon of iPhones. Like, does anyone like? I don't know that I want that.
Well, yeah, when
Like-
you can just play Pokemon on a fairly affordable device, you know. If
Right?
it's your own,
weird.
so I was looking at because I was reading this article earlier, and I decided to have a look at some of the charts on the App Store right now to see whether or not I could figure out what do people pay for. Because if you look at like top grossing is the most depressing thing you will ever fucking read in your life.
Oh, tell me
It
about
is Game of War, Clash of Clans, and then about 20 casino games, 20 shitty slot games, and I'm pretty sure you don't even win any money on them. People are literally spending money to play virtual slots that don't give you anything, which is bonkers to me.
Yeah.
But I went to the charts and I noticed something quite interesting, and that's that a lot of the games that are actually being paid for are very much aimed at kids. Top one right now is Minecraft Story Mode, followed by Minecraft Pocket, followed by Plague Inc., followed by things like NBA 2K16, Scribblenauts is on there, and then there's a bunch of board games, and PewDiePie's game is at number 17 on there. There's
That
like,
game is actually super fun, by the way.
I've been
a
told
fun
it's actually not
tournament.
bad, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
It's
like
alright
4
platform.
versions of Monopoly in the top 50, Terraria, all of Five Nights at Freddy's games, and then GTA San Andreas, for those 8-year-olds that want to feel super hardcore. And then a bunch of Minecraft rip-offs, basically, like Lucky Craft Mini and all that kind of thing. And I look down and it's like, there is not a single fucking core game in here, anywhere, unless it is somehow appealing to a kid. And that makes me think that the kind of people that buy core games on those devices are doing it because that's maybe their only gaming device. They have a tablet or they have a phone and they don't have a 3DS or whatever, so they play what they can play. My son has a 3DS and also has a laptop on which he plays stuff, but we find him playing a lot of this weird shit on his phone anyway. And it's usually just because if he's not near his computer, he wants to do something else. So like if we're at a restaurant, he'll get easily bored, and then he'll play some fucking thing like Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever on his phone.
Right.
And it just makes me think that that's where a lot of the use is coming from people that are actually buying these games. And maybe these kids are getting like gift cards or whatever to spend and all that kind of thing. But they're, even look through the top 100, you're not going to find many core games on there.
Yeah, that's it. It doesn't seem like a good place. It just doesn't seem like a good fit for that kind of title. I mean,
No, it doesn't. It really does not. And the weird thing is that I think a lot of developers have started to try and make those games because the iPad is much more powerful now, and so is the iPhone. It's like, oh god, we can make these console quality games, I think, is what they were
Right.
talking about
But-
there.
Yeah.
But they're not, though.
Yeah, I think too many of them are saying, "Oh, we have way more capabilities in terms of graphics, but you still have the same capabilities in terms of mechanics."
An interface, yeah. And there's
And
so many
interface,
mechanics and control methods
specifically.
that simply will not work as a result of you just having a touch screen.
Right.
And then some of the genres that do work, as I mentioned before, who the fuck wants to play those on an iPad for 10 hours? It's like saying, oh, Europa Universalis, or something like that, or the full version of Civilization. Would you play that on an iPad? Probably not.
No,
It's
Full version
fiddly.
of Civ.
It's got too many fucking menus. You know, you've got to simplify the UI. It's what I noticed with the PC port of Warhammer 40,000 Deathwatch that just came out, which was on iOS originally as like a turn-based tactics game. And it was so obvious that they'd had to dumb everything down to make it work reasonably on an iOS device. Because you can't have a bunch of fucking menus. You don't have the screen space. You don't have hover over. They've got to really think about that in the way that they design their game. I wouldn't want to play a Paradox Grand Strategy on a fucking phone. The UI's bad enough on a PC.
Well,
Why would
and
you?
I mean, that goes back to people just want to play quick in and out. Like, I don't know. I don't know what company would be like,
What?
yeah, we need to make a amazing 20-hour game for a phone. Like, no one wants that.
Yeah, and I
Not
mean,
really.
think about another type. Like, think about like a 3D platforming kind of Mario style game, right? You like any game where you would need to control the camera. I can't even imagine
It's
what
a
that
nightmare.
would be like. Yeah, it's
Those
garbage.
virtual controls are fucking
Yeah.
awful.
They're terrible. Like whenever you have to move, even when I have to do just like the left thumbstick on any mobile thing or touchscreen, it's terrible. It's garbage. So I can't even imagine something where you would have to change the camera angle or look around. That'd be terrible. It's just garbage.
Yeah. So to me, the whole kind of complaining and saying, hey, we've got to change the culture. You know, this Battle Station Harbinger game looks pretty good. Shame it's on fucking phone. You know, I'd play this on PC. Therein lies the problem. The people that want to play your game aren't using the platform you're developing it for. They
Right.
don't want to play on that device. So they wait for it to come out on PC. And thankfully, they're doing a Kickstarter to do that. So cool. When your game comes out on PC, I'll play it. And that's, I think, what a lot of people are going to be saying. I'll either play it on my console or play it on my PC. You know, similar with those that own 3DSs. Just saying, look, this is my gaming device. I prefer this. I want to play it on this. If you won't give me that option, I'm just not going to play it at all, because there are so many other games I could very easily play instead.
It's a weird sort of like, everyone sees that market and imagines the riches that await them when they see like, oh, if you can make a game where you just flap a fucking bird and make millions of dollars, we can make something amazing.
Yeah.
And like they forget that that market loves stupid shit like you can flap a bird, but there's dare I say there is no place for an overthought game on mobile. Like
No.
like a big grand game, there's just no place for it. And people are like, we're gonna make a MOBA for mobile, and we're gonna make an RPG for mobile.
Hey, so just on the subject of MOBA for mobile, there is one that just came out that is that kind of, I mean, there's several MOBAs available for iOS, and some of them are actually really good. Like, they're very well designed. Vainglory is a beautiful game. Like, it's one of the best looking games on that format. But what's interesting is the new one, I think it was like Call of Champions or something like that. It's like, yeah, these matches are 5 minutes. Because we understand that people don't want to sit for 30 fucking minutes on a touch device.
On a phone, yeah.
You can literally play a round of this in between whatever, or while you're taking a shit, or anything along those lines. And they understand that, and as a result, that to me is much better idea. You know, just get a quick round in when you can. But if I want to play a real Dota-style game, I play fucking Dota. I don't play it on a mobile device.
Yeah.
right.
But I'll play a light version of it in between. If I like that genre, I'm like, okay, I understand this is not quite as complicated, but it's fast, and I can get a kind of a little snack-sized version of that genre. I think that's what mobile's good for.
Yeah, I'm trying to like I was gonna say like, although if you're the person that's like, I gotta have my snack size MOBA, you might have a problem. Like, that's like,
Yeah.
I can't look. I
Can't get away from it.
League, and now I gotta take a shit, so I'm gonna play this other game. Like, you might have a problem.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be
They have
better-
Chill on the MOBAs for a bit.
I just,
Yeah, maybe read a
Yeah.
book on the toilet instead. I
no,
don't know.
you know, playing Hearthstone, and then like, crap, you need to go to the toilet, and it's like, oh, cool, I can play Hearthstone now.
Like, continue my game.
Oh goodness.
That's why that was designed. Let's all be very clear.
Yeah,
We all
yeah.
know why they were like, let's put that on mobile.
Putting that on phones was the best thing they fucking did ever.
Mhm.
I will tell you this, like, at esports events in particular, like the casters and crew, in between, you know, in their downtime, they're pretty much all playing Hearthstone on their fucking phone.
In the crowd,
yeah.
there are dudes playing Hearthstone.
Yeah, there are.
Just
That's very
not even
true.
paying attention.
Yeah.
When they do the camera pan, there's always guys just like, yup. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I saw like camera pans of a Hearthstone event where people were playing Hearthstone. It's like, you went to a Hearthstone event to watch Hearthstone, but instead you thought it would be more fun to play it yourself.
Play Hearthstone.
Although,
yeah.
to be fair, at last BlizzCon, when I went to watch people play Hearthstone, I was like, fuck, I really want to play Hearthstone now.
Mhm.
Those people just knew. They knew they were going to sit in the audience and watch other people play Hearthstone and be like, I want to play so bad. So they
I'm-
just
I'm
brought their
surprised they got
iPad
us-
with them.
I was surprised they got a signal up in that shit. That's all I'm.
Oh yeah.
How you manage that? God bless. If you can play it, you deserve to play it.
Getting any kind of signal in the Anaheim Convention Center is pretty garbage.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Pro tip: switch to 3G.
Oh.
3G?
Turn off LTE. Switch to 3G. Works
Interesting.
flawlessly because no one's using
Interesting.
that shit anymore. So
Hey,
it's great.
I'll tell you what, like, when I went to LA, for some reason, like, my phone was useless. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Consistently
Verizon?
dropping. Yeah, Verizon.
Verizon shit here.
Is
Verizon,
it? Okay,
like,
good to know.
Is
Verizon
Yeah.
works fine for me.
well, it depends on where you're at. It's sparse throughout the city, and if you go anywhere indoors, you lose like 3 bars automatically.
Yeah, I mean, I was
Well-
down to 1G or whatever that is. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, we're going to play some Snake here on my Nokia 5230 or whatever.
Plus or whatever I get. I don't know what it is.
Oh, hate it. Hate it.
Pretty
I
awful.
will
H is,
say-
H plus is for hate.
Apparently, like all the other companies here, like kill it. Meanwhile, it's like the reverse in New York and places like that. So LA is just the worst. Whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hearthstone, so
Oh.
major change.
Ooh.
So the Patron Warrior deck,
Oh yeah.
Get out.
which
Nerfed.
it's dead. It's fucking dead. And they killed it in
Interesting.
crazy way. So for those who don't know, the Patron Warrior has been the scourge of the ladder for a long time now. You know, pretty much ever since the Blackwing Adventure came out, Patron has been a fucking nightmare. So the reason why it's a nightmare is that you can combo together a bunch of awful stuff to one-shot kill somebody out of nowhere, and there's nothing they can really do about it. It involves bringing these things called Grim Patrons on the board. They're 5 mana, they are 3/3, which is shitty, but when they take damage and don't die, they summon another Grim Patron. So you can set up a combo with this card called the Warsong Commander, which gives your patrons charge. So that means as soon as you play them, as soon as they're summoned, they can attack. So what
You
do
know,
you
there's
do?
a great animated video that easily explains this. If you would like to go watch it.
Indeed,
Be
yes.
sure.
I believe it's over on the Polaris channel. You know, it is
Yeah.
the Disney Hearthstone crossover.
Yeah.
It explains it fairly well.
I put
So-
Mickey in that.
There's a couple of little combos that you can do with that. You know, there's something called the Frothing Berserker, which gets attack power every time something gets damaged. So you combo that with the fucking Grim Patron, give that charge. It's a one-shot kill against almost anybody. Like, you know, 30 health, dead. 40 health, dead. 50 health, dead. Ridiculous. So what they decided to do, because they realized, right, this is finally a problem. They realized this after about 8 fucking months, is, yeah, we want to make Warsong Commander utterly unplayable. Like, garbage, rubbish, tripe, utter tripe. So this card started off as 3 mana, 2/3, minions you play gain charge. Now, it is 3 mana, 2/3, charge minions gain +1 attack. This makes the card strictly worse than one of the worst cards in the game, the Raid Leader, which is a 3 mana common basic card, 2/2, give all minions on your side +1. So it's unplayably bad. Like, there's no reason now why you would ever use that card ever again. So they killed Patron, but they also killed a lot of other stuff in the process, and they over-nerfed this card so badly that it is now bottom-tier, useless piece of shit.
Get out of there.
Literal garbage.
Yeah.
Literal garbage.
Ranch.
Utterly pointless.
You know what's funny about this?
Murloc's coming for you, though.
So, Zariah, the community manager for Hearthstone, is
And
my
fantastic cosplayer.
fantastic cosplayer, all around wonderful lady. One of my oldest friends, and also one of my old roommates. We were roommates for a long time, and I messaged her a while ago, and I was like, "Why is Grim Patron the worst?" And she messaged me back and said, "Grim Patron is not the problem; it's Warsong Commander." So this was a while ago. So I was like, I wonder what's gonna happen here. And there you have it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They've been arguing for a while that charge in that game is one of the biggest problems, because let's go back to your Magic the Gathering example, and the reason why Magic the Gathering takes so fucking long to play, because people can respond to what you do.
Yes.
So you play a creature, interrupt, actually, this shit, and so on and so forth. You can't do that in Hearthstone. The only time that ever happens in Hearthstone is with, like, a secret, basically, you know? Or some sort of ability which is constantly running. And you have no control over that at all. So you don't have the ability to respond. So a deck like Patron, I imagine, has probably been done a billion times in Magic, and there's probably a counter to it. There's always been a counter to it. But there is no real counter to charge outside of all the charge cards being awful. And they were for a while. Like, I built charge-only decks, and most charge cards kind of suck. There's a few, there's a few examples of stuff that's good, but, I mean, the fucking Stone Tusk Boar is a 1/1 with charge. It's useless. It's fucking useless in the vast majority of circumstances.
In a Murloc deck.
What's that 1/4 with charge and taunt? It's the gnome.
Oh, the fucking Gnomrigan Warrior.
That one's okay in Arena, though.
Yeah, I mean, some cards are a bit more functional in Arena than they would be in constructed play, but...
Absolutely.
I mean, 1/4 with charge makes no fucking sense in the vast majority of circumstances. Like, I'm gonna charge you for 1 damage! Yeah, great, that's... And they're always, like, overcosted and things like that. There's a few charge cards which are good, but that's, like Grom Hellscream and the 4/3 Corkron Elite. But outside of that...
Somebody brings up Leroy, but Leroy's
not good anymore. Leroy used to be good, and then they nerfed him hard. Because people realized, again, the Leroy thing, that was how Miracle Rogue used to work. You'd play a Leroy, you'd hit them in the face with it, you'd bring it back to your hand, you'd play the Leroy again, and you'd keep doing this using, Shadow Step. So basically, you could obliterate people with that. That was awful.
Yeah. Somebody says King Crush. King Crush is too expensive.
Yeah, King Crush sucks because it's really, really pricey. The only reason King Crush is good right now is because you can randomly summon it with Ram Wrangler.
Yep, which has happened to me before.
Yep, that's great.
Yeah.
It's a shame, though. It's like that was their solution, is to break a card completely.
Yeah, I mean...
I hope it gets redesigned.
At least with other nerfs, they don't think have been as bad. I mean, even the Buzzard nerf, which was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad.
Oh,
it was
my poor Hunter Heart when they nerfed Buzzard.
Oh, God, it was brutal.
Yeah, but it wasn't, I mean, it's not completely unplayable. Like, it's bad, but it's not just like...
It's not utterly unplayable, but it's very unlikely that you would use him.
Yes, it's true. But
at least he can be randomly summoned, you know?
Yeah, but...
You can get him in your deck with, like, a Web Spinner, or summon him with a Ram Wrangler, or whatever, and that's fine.
Yeah, if you get Warsong Commander, it's like, this has no point in any deck at all.
This is now useless. Completely useless.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's
a Band-Aid fix, you know? And it's like, it's like, oh, right, well, you've got some nerve problems in your fingers, so we're going to cut off your arm. That'll get rid of the nerve problems. That's basically what they did. They destroyed the card in order to break the deck.
But it will.
Yeah.
I mean, it will. Yeah.
Hashtag Phantom Pain, but it will.
Yeah. So
I mean,
there's that.
But now we have to deal with Secret Paladin, which is the new flavor.
I'm partially responsible for that deck.
Wow.
I was pretty much one of the first people to play it, and I did a video about it, and now ladder is ruined. I'm sorry. Really sorry.
My friend just tweeted out, he's like 70% of the matches I play are Secret Paladin. I'm like, yeah, well.
To be fair, at least I played my extreme version of Secret Paladin with all the fucking secrets.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got Eye for Eye in my deck. That's fun.
Yeah, all the decks now are like, they don't use all the secrets, but I'm like, why not just
They're
go whole
optimized.
hog? Just have all of them in there.
Yes, agreed. If you got secrets, if you're gonna be an asshole, you might as well own up to being an asshole.
Yeah,
F secrets.
They cost 1 mana.
Secrets.
Paladin secrets are 1 mana. It's like, whatever, just play them. Yeah.
Oh man, so many combos. Like, then they attack your minion, and then all 5 fucking secrets trigger. It's like, all right, so we're gonna resurrect this guy, and we're gonna give you a 2/3 avenge buff, and then we're gonna have a get down, which gets in the way, so he doesn't take any damage anyway, and all that sort of thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the 2/1 procking the avenge is just too good.
God, it's
That's
so good.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
I love it.
Yeah. And then people are saying run flare, but I mean, it's the I don't think it's worth it.
It's worth it just to see them concede at that point, and they do.
That is.
They
fine.
auto concede when you flare them. It's great.
Yeah. That's true.
Flare used to be a lot shittier than it is because it never used to draw a card. So people are like, I'm never going to play Flare because it's literally a dead card against 6 out of the 9 classes.
But now
it's
when
like
70% of your matches are Secret Paladin, you're just it's worth a shot.
Welcome to the metagame. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So one more piece of news before we wrap up with releases. Any of you still play Payday 2?
No.
Once in a while, yeah.
No.
So Payday 2 and the developers Overkill have pissed off a fuckload of people lately by basically going up against and going back on something that they claimed they would never do, which is to put microtransactions in the game.
Uh-oh.
They have now put microtransactions in the game. So you can get
Victims.
safes, which are very similar to TF2 crates, and you can unlock them with drills, which are very similar to keys. But you unlock these things and you get weapon skins. So you might be thinking, all right, okay, weapon skins, that's not a big deal. Except the weapon skins give stat boosts.
Oh, no.
Yay! Whoops! You fucked up.
Oh, that's...
Guys, you fucked
Idiots!
Oh.
Idiots!
That's not a good choice.
Guys, I think every developer should just watch our podcast.
Hey,
They'll
listen up.
know. They'll
Listen
know
up.
everything that
right
pisses
now.
us off.
They could be right now. Every developer in the world.
Guys, pay attention. Pay attention to us while we discuss
Don't be a
this
dummy
topic.
and do this shit.
Don't do this. Oh, God.
Yeah,
Do,
they've...
do we
they-
know what the stats? I'm gonna look this up.
I don't know
what
how
the
much of a
stats
buff
are?
they are, but they're like the weapon skins are strictly better by the sounds of it than the regular weapons. They have recently patched it in by letting you get keys as a random drop as well. But of course, you know, if you want to open a bunch of crates and get all the shit you want, you better be paying for it.
Somebody says you can get skins for weapons you don't have either.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
And not only weapons you don't have, but weapons for the DLC that you don't own. That's entirely possible. So you could pay money for a key, unlock the fucking safe, and in it is a skin for a weapon that you need to spend money to get.
God.
It's unbelievably ridiculous.
Good.
Oh my god. Yeah.
That's just foolish. I mean, all I wanted out of that game was my kawaii mask, and I got it, and so I'm not spending any more money on that game. But
I mean, that game is such a mess right now. It has so much fucking DLC that if you wanted to get in new, you would have no idea where to start.
yeah,
It's nuts. How much DLC is there for it? Let's see. 36 pieces of DLC.
wow.
Obviously, some of that is free, no doubt, but there's
Oh,
36 pieces of fucking DLC. How the fuck do I know what's worth having here? I have no idea. Yeah, it's already bad enough with Payday to even be able to get a decent game. It's like, oh, I'm new to the game, guys. Kicked. Over and over again, because they don't want you to ruin their fucking pure stealth run or whatever.
Yeah.
And adding this in as well, you know, they said they would never do it, and then they fucking did it. You know? It's as simple as that. They went back on their promise. And it's a stupid system in the first place, even if they hadn't gone back on their promise.
I don't know why they would.
Everyone is covering this. There's not one little bit of good. Even Forbes is like, they effed up.
Forbes, wow, you know you
Forbes.
screwed up when Forbes says you screwed up.
Well, I mean, for Forbes, they've got a bunch of contributors now that write about games, so
Yeah.
it's not that surprising. But regardless, yeah, everyone pretty much turned around and said, "You guys are idiots," and they're right. That's insane. It's nonsense.
Yeah, I guess Reddit has been like, go there and lower their score.
Yeah,
but
the whole review
Metacritic
bombing
rating
thing.
is
Yeah.
lower. It's like, oh Jesus,
Oh,
the
yeah.
power of. The
I wonder if that
Reddits.
ever matters. Like, I wonder if it's just impotent raging, or if that's actually made a difference to anything.
It's
Possible.
it's so far past release, the point where like the Metacritic score.
Nobody's
has no
going
effect.
Yeah, who
to look
cares?
at Payday 2 on
Nobody
Metacritic
cares.
at this point, you know?
It's just rage, just like yeah, we'll show them.
It really is.
Actually, what would show them is just to not use that service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't
Just
use it.
Don't spend money on it.
Yeah.
If you
Stop
get a
buying
key,
stuff, don't
if
play
you get a
it.
key, leave that shit in your inventory. Don't even use it if you get a drop
Don't
or
even
whatever
look
it
at
is, like a
Don't
drill.
even
Yeah,
think
just
about it.
and let them see that a bunch of people aren't using it, and then they'll take that shit out. That's the easy way to do it. No, that's it's too much work. I'd rather just go angrily post on a forum.
Understandably. All right, should we do releases and then wrap it up?
Yeah.
Today, October 20th, we have Dulguth.
Dulguth.
What the hell is Dulguth?
I don't know.
Dulguth.
How do you spell that?
Dolguth.
It's an early access game that's an old school 2D brawler for 6 local players.
Great.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm sure that'll do really well on PC. Next.
Next is Just Dance 2016 for pretty much everything, which doesn't really need explanation. Dragon Ball Z Extreme Butoden for 3DS.
Extreme Booty Den?
Extreme Booty Dens.
Extreme booty
That
dance.
would be-
Booty den.
That sounds more exciting than the regular version. Gotta admit.
Definitely.
Interesting thing about this game, if I may, for a moment, Arc System Works did the graphics for this game.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
so,
probably pretty good then. Outside of the
Yeah.
fact it's on a 3DS, but
Yeah,
pretty good.
But nice.
Next.
This looks pretty good.
Next up is the Xbox One limited edition Halo 5 Guardians bundle.
So I assume like Halo
Or
5 isn't
Xbox
out
One.
yet, right? Halo 5 is not out yet. That's coming out in November, I assume, right? So this is probably just a, hey, you can buy a Halo-themed Xbox and then get it on release, right?
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Oh,
I guess so.
God.
Yeah, it actually is out next week. So October the 27th is when
Oh.
Halo 5 Guardians comes out. So there you
Interesting.
go. Next.
Tales of Zestiria, which we talked about earlier for
That we did.
PS4, PC, and PS3.
Mhm.
Let's Sing 2016,
Ooh.
which is apparently a thing. I assume it's similar to Just Dance, but you sing in it.
Yep, I'm gonna guess so. Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Oregon Trail Complete Edition for
Yeah,
PS4
what's up with that?
and Vita.
They're just
I
porting
like.
It's a
Yeah, it's just a port, right?
just a port of the game.
Cool. Adventure Time Finn and Jake Investigations for
Can we-
all of the Sony things.
Can I just take a moment to say, look, I love Adventure Time, but your games are awful.
it. Fucking awful.
And-
Always
Yeah.
bad.
And
Hey, I
after
don't know.
3 seconds of looking at this game, I'm like, well, on a PS1, this would have looked amazing. But it
Battle
looks like
Party.
shit.
Battle Party was pretty incredible. I don't know what you're talking about. The
I didn't play
MOBA,
Battle Party.
the Adventure Time MOBA. Oh man.
Oh my
No.
god.
That was some 10 out of 10.
Oh, woo!
A plus
No,
stuff.
no.
Mwah.
Next.
Next is Code Realize Guardian of Rebirth, which sounds like anime
What
bullshit.
It definitely is. What
It's on
a
Vita, of course it
ridiculous
is.
name.
Mm.
It's all that comes
Also-
out on Vita these days.
It actually kind of looks
Probably
fabulous,
a
like the
visual
anime
novel?
style. Oh yeah, it's definitely what it is. I think.
Yep, it's a visual novel. Again.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Next up is Overlord Fellowship of Evil.
Apparently
which
it
I-
is dog shit.
Oh,
People are hating it. Absolutely
Oh, no.
despising this game.
That's
Overlord is a franchise, isn't it?
Yeah, but apparently it's nothing like the other ones, and it's just some
Oh,
simplistic
no.
fucking ARPG, and everybody hates it.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oh, that's so sad.
the other Overlord games were good.
They were.
Well,
Ish.
yeah, I was gonna say.
Yep.
Okay, well, Sword Coast Legends came out, which I've heard is like okay.
Yeah, some people are like, with that. It
The-
seems.
The demo that they did for this game implied that you had a lot more customization than you actually have.
Yeah,
which is
that's
what
what I've
I've heard multiple times from multiple people, which kind of sucks. Forced Slightly Better Edition.
I love that.
PS4.
That's great. Oh man, yeah, that's a pretty cool co-op
hilarious.
game that's actually on PC and it has been there for a while.
Cool. Moving on to October 21st, aka tomorrow, we've got Pinball FX2 Balls of Glory.
Balls of Glory. Eh?
Bowls
Okay.
of Glory.
All right, it's a pinball game. Next,
Right.
Coast Guard.
this is a game about being Coast Guard.
Cool. Next game is called Ironcraft
Ironcraft with a K.
with a K.
Right. Okay.
Ironcraft Road to Hell, apparently. It is a fast-paced 2.5D side-scrolling car brawler with alternative World War II story, zombies, aliens, and maximum craziness.
Great.
I mean, it sounds like it.
Okay, then.
Maximum craziness.
All
well,
right.
the next game is called Robbery Bob, Man of Steel.
Man of...
Robbery?
I see what
don't
they did
even-
there. Man
Hello,
of Steel.
everybody. My name's Robbery Bob.
Oh, Man of Steel. Oh, that's clever.
It's a stealth puzzle heist game, basically.
Cool.
Oh, neat.
Next game is Worm Unlimited.
Oh my god, is that the old MMO? It is, yeah. It's an ancient sandbox MMO.
Huh.
Cool. Next up is Distraint. Distraint.
They're not even using real words anymore. It's a
No.
2D psychological horror, by the looks of it.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Next up is Kingdom, which I feel like we've looked up before.
Well, I mean, it's a very generic name. It's a 2D
I know,
side-scrolling resource management hybrid game thingy.
Okay. Well, the next game is called Shallow Space.
If I recall correctly, that is a PvP space game. I think I played some of this. Yeah, organized RTS combat, fully 3D environment. Yeah, sort of space strategy.
The next game is literally just called Murder.
Oh,
Right? Okay.
sure.
So we're here now. This is where the
I-
game industry has come to.
Yeah,
Ah.
I can't find that.
Have you guys played Murder?
I I actually can't even find that on Steam because of how generic a name it is.
The most dangerous game.
Yep.
Yeah.
We just the next game. Oh my god.
Yeah, the next game-
Here we go again.
It's already.
God damn
I'm in.
got it.
Combines
we got
all of my
another-
favorite thing.
Another Pretty Girls Battle game, guys. We've got Poker Pretty Girls Battle.
I am so effing
Apparently
excited.
it
for
looks
this game.
great. Question mark.
It is pretty anime
Oh.
girls.
Oh my
with
god.
Poker. I'm playing this shit. This is Fan Friday. The fan is me. This is what
I mean,
this is,
if
I'm
it's
in.
anything like Mahjong Solitaire Pretty Girl Battle, it's basically going to be Strip Poker the game.
I'm in. That's what I want. That's what I want.
I know that's what you want. I
Game.
just want you to know that's like potentially what you're going to play.
For some
Someone
reason,
send me the
Rebel
link to
Galaxy was not on the release list. I don't know why that is, but that's
Oh.
out today too.
Hey, Rebel Galaxy.
It's great, by the way. So
It's got
play
great
that.
music, fucking awesome
Yeah.
music.
No, but for real though, I'm gonna need some. Once they release the secret code to make all these girls naked, someone send that to me. Thanks. Love, Jesse.
You have to play the game and then they slowly get naked.
Why the fuck would you work for your porn?
Yeah,
Where's the
that's
internet?
stupid.
Come
I can
on.
just go to Google. I don't want to work
Okay,
for
then
it.
don't play the game, you dummy.
Next,
October 22nd, we've got
want the
Alpha
illusion.
Polaris.
it's a horror point and click. Next,
Next up is called Gremlins Inc.
Gremlins Inc. It is early access game, strategy board game in a steampunk world of corrupt capitalist gremlins.
It's actually
this
kind of cool looking.
looks like my jam, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my. I
actually
saw the
saw-
game board.
Yeah, if you ever want to play that TB, I actually saw a thing the other day that was like, oh shit, this TB would love this.
I probably would, yeah.
Yeah, all the
cool.
different gremlins have like their own like, I'm the banking gremlins, and we're the like cog gremlins, and you're just trying to, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Next up is Knocked.
It's a 2D top-down multiplayer survival horror game.
Cool. Next up is The Big Secret of a Small Town.
Point and click is what it looks like, or just adventure, or like yeah, it looks like point and click puzzle. Game?
Yeah, point and click kind of puzzle game.
That's cool. That's
Cool.
my jam.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Mugen Souls is next.
This is a Nipponichi game.
It is. Turn-based combat with anime boobs, basically.
Yeah. You say Nipponichi. You know, comes to mind.
Those are the only kind of
what you're
boobs I
getting.
love.
Sky Break is the next game.
I think it's another survival kind of game. Explore, rebuild a station above the clouds, enhance your armor, fight in a procedurally generated world. Yeah, it's one of these early access survival games.
Cool.
Looks good, but yeah, won't be finished. Forever, probably.
Next up is called Voxel Blast. That has to do with voxels.
And blasting them.
them.
Yeah, it's pretty much a sort of 3D shooter. Next.
Next up is Message Quest.
I saw the
Or
name of this.
Massage Quest.
I thought it was Massage Quest. I was like, I want to play that.
It is a point and click.
It's
Cool.
a stained glass point and click adventure. That's kind of cool.
Huh, that
I'll
sounds
check
cool.
that out too.
Next is called Command Northern Inferno.
It's a war game, basically. Very complicated looking one.
Next up is called Square Brawl.
Too many fucking games coming out these days. It is a party game. That's what Square Brawl is.
Next up is Slender: The Arrival for Wii U.
I think we know what
Wii
that
U
is.
getting all the new games. Oh man, they're killing it. They're killing it.
And then we've got Shantae and the Pirate's Curse for Fire.
So that's Amazon Fire TV.
Sure.
Yeah.
October 23rd, we've got Divine Slice of Life.
It is anime bullshit.
Animu? Yeah!
Yep.
Yes, I'm all about that life.
Visual novel. Yep.
Oh, this
Sweet,
next one.
Sweet Divine Slice
Oh,
of
this
Life.
next one.
Auto
This'll be-
Dealership Tycoon.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I desperately want to just make videos of me be like, "Come on down to Crazy Jesse's Auto Card. We got new card. We got old card." I might play this game and just do that the entire fucking time.
Put like the VHS filter over
The
your
UI
footage
looks so
and like stand in
bad.
front of your green screen and be like,
The
I'm not allowed within
entire
100 feet of the DMV because I gave too many good deals on used cars.
Next up is Tracks and Turrets.
It's a tank battle game. Next.
Great. Next is called Star Sky.
All right.
It is Japanese by the looks of it. About a man taking a midnight stroll. Don't know what.
Next up-
Walking simulator, quite literally, by the looks of it. Next.
Next up is Vermintide.
We know all about that.
Next up is 200% Mixed Juice.
Wait,
Which
is
I
that
hope
the
is
sequel to
the
100?
sequel.
It's the sequel to 100% Orange
is!
Juice.
Is that
It's
the
an orange
sequel?
juice.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
What?
It is an old school RPG featuring a mix of Orange Juice characters, apparently.
But there's like crazy. What is even happening? There's like you're fighting starships and stuff in this game. What is happening?
It's pretty ridiculous.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
Next up is so we had Kingdom on the list,
And then
but now
Kingdoms,
there's
and I can't find this
Kingdoms.
fucking thing either. Name your
Fuck it.
games in a more unique way.
Fuck it.
If you
Next
have
game.
fucking games that I can't find on Steam, fuck you. I'm not talking about them. Next.
Giving Steam too much power. Total Biscuit.
It's already
Talk about
taken
how-
over everything.
Talk about how Valve needs to check themselves, but all right. Next game is called 100 Ways.
Puzzle game. Next.
Shadows on the Vatican, Act 2.
Point and click. Episodic. Next.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate: The Rooks Edition. The Legend of Zelda: Triforce Heroes.
Correct
we go.
reaction to the
Which-
latest Assassin's Creed game.
Is apparently fantastic and really fun.
Yep.
It's a multiplayer Zelda game for those of you who don't know. And then on October 26th, our final game is called Cinnarun.
A minimalist 3D platform racing game that's in early access.
Woo! Also,
love
Life
their-
is Strange
I love
Episode 5 came out today.
Yes, it
that
did.
wasn't on the list either.
Yep.
And people are already spoiling it. So
Of course
I
they
gotta
are.
make
No,
a
I
Cinnarun to
refuse. I haven't
Cinnarun.
looked at anything.
Of course. Well, I think it pretty much wraps up the show, doesn't it? By the looks of it.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Cool. All right, let's leave. But before we leave, what's coming up on the channel this week? What's going on? Octopimp, what are you doing?
On my channel?
Yeah.
I have 2 episodes
What
of
are
my
you
show.
doing?
I have 2
What
episodes
what
of
is
my
it
show.
you say you would that you do here?
Well, I make anime parodies on the internet. I'm sorry. But I have 2 episodes of my show 50% off coming out. Should be this Saturday and then next Saturday, which is a huge deal because usually we're like there's like 2 months between episodes, but I wanted to do 2 episodes this month because it's been a while. Yeah, so keep an eye out for those if you like anime and you like shirtless boys getting in the pool because that's what you're gonna be seing. It's a lot of that. Whole lot of
Bringing
that.
it all together.
So I'm going to
Wow.
assume, Dodger, that what's going up on your channel is very similar to this.
We got Life is Strange, and we got the rest of the Undertale Pacifist run, which is entirely VODs from my stream. So if you're impatient, you can just go watch it on Twitch. Look, I don't care.
Wonderful.
Oh, and my fall season first impression is going to be coming out this week because I think I've finally seen the first episode of everything that I gave a fuck about. So if you like animus, watch that.
Jesse, what's going on with the channel this week?
A lot of great videos, but I'm going to give you a spoiler. In my videos, secretly, I placed clips of shirtless anime boys kissing. So you have to watch all my videos to figure out which ones have it.
Mm-hmm.
So get on that because I too love shirtless anime boys getting in pools.
Anime boys.
So
Animoy
That is my-
boys.
Yeah.
Animoy. Animoys. I'm a huge fan of Animoys.
Anyways.
And so yeah, youtube.com/JesseCox. Go there for that.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
yeah, it's pretty much the end of the show, by the looks of it. Don't know what will be coming up on my channel this week. I have no idea. I've got various appointments, and I'm going to Vegas next week anyway. So
Vegas!
I'm fucking off for a while, and then I'm going to the West Coast for
Are
stuff.
you gonna shoot off weapons in Vegas? Is this
Probably,
happening?
yeah. Most likely. It's always fun.
Can you do that?
Of course you can.
Cool.
Yeah, man, you can shoot like
Pretty much anything
crazy
out there.
weapons in the middle of the
Oh,
desert.
yeah. It's pretty great.
I want to shoot
Everything's legal in the desert.
You want to shoot a, you want to shoot a what?
a bazooka. I want to shoot
Yeah,
a
you can do
bazooka
that.
in the desert. Sick. Awesome.
Oh, bleh.
Pretty great. All right, that pretty much wraps us up for the show. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and thanks to the new subs on the channel today. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching the Corruptional Podcast. Goodbye.
So long, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Get out.